If Lands Could Kill, featuring KnifeCity, A Quickness, Right, and Hot Sauce.
All right, welcome one and all to If Lands Could Kill. I'm KnifeCity.
I'm A Quickness.
This is Reich.
Hot and the sauce.
Hot Soup.
Hot soup.
Hot Soup. We changed his name to Hot Soup.
Coming through.
In honor of the new card and coming up in M15 called Hot Soup. His new nickname is now Hot Soup.
Hot Sauce is actually getting the card art tattooed on his back.
No, really.
Like a big Steve-O.
Yeah, with the
tattoo when it's
You know
the
how
hot
they
soup.
put those sayings across their chest?
like a-
It's going to be the flavor tattoo.
Yeah.
Coming through.
Is that what it is? Oh,
Coming
man.
through.
No, that's going to be like your tramp stamp. Coming through. Hot stuff coming through. So anyways, this is one of the episodes. This episode, is this 10?
I think it's 10.
Oh, shit.
Double digits.
You hear that? No, I got the parade coming in a little bit. Fucking man on stilts
No,
and
you need
elephants and all
the-
kinds of shit.
Dude, I
But
love
the rap
love
announcer,
elephants.
like, in all their songs, they have the DJ coming through. Fucking, and next we have blah 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 blah. Fucking. Anyway,
yeah.
Like a strip club?
right over here.
Yeah, like a strip club.
Yeah, there you go.
Next on the stage is Cherry Blossom
Yeah.
or whatever.
Put some sugar on me. So what's been going on this week with you guys? What's up, Mike?
Oh man, I've been crazy busy between work and then planning this vow renewal ceremony that we're having next in like 2 months from now. And so, but I've been itching to get back in some magic with some of the M15s. Stuff's been spoiled. I'm just kind of getting hot and bothered by that Elvish Mystic reprint that I saw. So
Yeah.
we'll touch on that a little bit later. Yeah,
Touch on some commons.
yeah. But
You're
some of
leaving
those-
your new squeeze for your old squeeze?
I know, right?
Golden Hind just going out. the
Golden
window?
Hind can just take a back seat to Elvish Mystic. Like,
Alright.
I gotta get my number one man,
Double the power.
my sugar daddy.
Literally double.
Literally.
Double the power? I don't know, though.
Power.
He's kind of mystic. Something about him. It's like
Goons.
that. What they call it, the Dark Stranger.
What is
I
that?
have no idea.
I got stuff up here. I don't even want to say it.
I got no idea.
Yeah.
I just think of the stranger when you sit on your hand. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
let
yeah.
it go
That's what I
numb.
was thinking.
The dark one, I mean, you gotta get a black man's hand. And then he has to be a stranger also.
Oh, yeah,
You
come
just have
yeah.
to like, hey, sir, would you accept
sit
coming
on
over
your
to my
hand real
house?
quick?
But, yeah, let me sit on your hand.
No,
and
he
then
sits on his own hand.
sits on his own
That
hand.
makes all
It's
the
not gay.
difference.
If he sits on his own hand.
If it's dumb, it's not gay. Oh, but yeah, anyways, yeah, I just been up to that and kind of just want to I've been wanting to get on Magic Online to do a vintage draft, but it's expensive as all hell, so probably won't do
Like
that.
seven tickets a pack or something?
Yeah, I think the sealed's like fucking $45 or something like that to do a sealed draft. So
I did see, I was watching Darkest Mage stream it today, and he pulled a Scrubland and a Tundra
Oh wow,
out
that's
of
like
a sealed event.
some good money.
Dude, that guy is like the opposite of funny.
No, he is like the anti-funny.
He is, I'm
Yeah.
watching him and I'm like, yeah, you know what you're doing, but like, I don't fucking want to watch you. I've actually tried to watch him like 5 times now.
Yeah.
And every time I'm like, come on, man.
I think
do something, bro.
It takes a certain kind of just
Well,
personality to
when he's
get
using
liked to
terminology
him.
like silly goose all the time, like...
Like silly goose, like in a serious
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Not like in a
He can't really
sarcastic.
he can't be really funny. But his main thing is like, he wants to keep it like G, so like anybody can watch it.
It's like Disney.
Parents can turn it on and watch it with their kids running
Fair
around
enough.
the kitchen. But
yeah.
It's a very small bone to pick with him, really. I
Yeah,
mean, he's
yeah,
doing.
yeah.
I'm sure he's doing fine. Everything's. Yeah, he's nothing offensive to me, really. You know, is just I want him to be
A little bit on the dry side.
He's,
Yeah.
he's
he
super
would
dry,
mesh
but he's also
really well with our podcast.
No, I
he's-
don't think he's our compatible
We brought it
type.
before where he just like, if someone says something that's like not correct, someone trying to suggest to him, he'd be like, no, that's stupid, isn't it? Or he won't say it's stupid. He's like, that just won't work.
like-
And that's just the end of it. Like he'll just kind of be like, it won't work because of that. And I'll just go on to the next thing. And nothing. He doesn't entertain any idea at all. Like he just knows. He's just reading out of the dictionary. He's like,
There ain't no funny business
He just
about
goes like, it doesn't say that. Nope, doesn't say that.
Yeah.
Sorry, no.
Close the book.
Yeah, that's it. It's so easy for him to just be like, no, I can't.
But yeah, I've been getting over a cold too, so if I start coughing on the podcast, it's my bad. But that's about it for me. What have you been up to? Quickness?
Not much. Just I've been hanging out with somebody I met recently through my buddy Jake, and he used to play Magic back in the day. So I've been going over there a couple days a week.
Magic Gate.
Been playing some Magic. Been teaching them, getting them back into it. So
get more people
been doing
into
that.
it.
Yeah, just more people to play, the better, I think.
Perfect. What about inviting him over here one of these days, or not here, but with us?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we'll see. He's kind of he's a character. I'll just put it like that. Like he's
There might be a lot to handle.
I don't think everybody can handle him. He's a good guy. I won't put that past him. He's a really good guy, but I don't think he's everybody's. His personality is everybody's cup of tea.
Gotcha.
So,
Hey,
I like kicking with him. He's cool. We play a league together as well. So, but other than that, I just been screwing, like, looking up all the new cards coming out, just trying to go back through all Theros block, seeing, like, I'm trying to speculate what could be good, like, trying to get a head start, since I wasn't really knowledgeable enough, I guess I could say, when Theros block came out to try to do that, so I just had no idea. Some cards I thought were like, oh, nobody will play that, and then everybody plays it. So I'm trying to get a leg up on the competition and try to get a head start on that.
Yeah, that's tough though. Like trying to get those. Like the only card that I really hit good on was the Desecration Demons.
Yeah,
and that was just like luck.
Well, I've been watching the most recent Pro Tour that was Block Constructor. Just going over there, just watching the matches, just seeing how things play out. Just be like, okay, well, this is obviously good against this card, but what else can it do? And just trying to put other cards around it to see what can happen, and just geeking out like that.
You guys notice that Courser went up from like $350 to like
it's like shot up like $12 or something.
I mean, I want to say $350 as in like that's the low of what he ever was.
Yeah,
but he was normally floating around
and
7.
The high was like 17, I think.
Yeah, so it's just
ridiculous.
That's dramatic change. I understand. I mean, people play 4 of you play green, you play 4 of him, you play 4 of Caryatid. I get it, but it's a pretty hefty price for
yeah.
I have a confession to make. I only own 3 Caryatids. I don't have a full play set of Caryatids.
Oh man!
I know. I only run 3.
Come here, brother.
I know, right?
I too
Together
only have 3 Caryatids, and I too only have 3 Coursers.
Oh well, I have 4 Coursers.
I'm a super 3 of player though.
Yeah.
I play 3 of anything unless it's like I'll play 4 of like the best 2 cards in my deck, and everything else is 3. I'm weird like that for sure, but
I only have 2 Caryatids. Because I actually gave you mine because I owed you for the Desecration Demons.
Right.
I still owe you, but I mean, I don't have any Caryatids.
don't be embarrassed, man. We're all Magic players.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay.
I'll just leave the room now. I have 4 of each. Step out.
It's like, oh, this is not my.
This is a 3
I
of
guess
like
I
help
came to the wrong
group.
party.
Yeah.
I only have 1 of the coursers.
Yeah, those are good guys though.
We pulled that in our most recent block draft.
Yeah, in our block
Hey,
draft.
remember when you guys traded me coursers for other things?
Yeah, I was like,
I
I gave Jason a card. I'm like, I'm probably not
I
going to
think
need
you
this.
did too. I
Yep.
have 3, and I think I only had 1. So
I definitely traded some shit cards for
the ultimate one though is actually on Justin. Is when I traded.
we're not talking about that.
what was it?
It was.
We're not talking about
No,
that.
I have to say it. It's,
Nope.
It's cat's out of the bag. We got to know now. The world has to know.
Wait till
All
the
right,
end of, make
this
it
is
to the
my
end of the
last day
podcast
for
to
the
find out.
podcast. I'm not playing Magic.
Yeah, I know.
Hey,
You know what? I'm not going to say it because you're right. It is like pretty bad.
What?
So
Tune in
I don't
next
even know.
time.
What?
For the conclusion
Let's just
of-
say this: I traded a card that is now worth nothing
Yeah.
for a card that now is Mutavault.
Well, you just gave it away.
No,
No,
but
it's
I didn't
okay.
tell you the nothing card though. 'Cause that's the embarrassing part. The Mutavault part's the embarrassing.
Okay, well, just tell the nothing card.
No,
because
because
it's-
it's not that.
That's like
the
my.
initials are DI. Let's just leave it at that. I traded a
I
card
was-
with
yeah.
initials that are DI
You don't
for
have to say it.
Mutavault.
We'll work
just
this
a
out
bad,
later.
It's just a bad card. It read well, and it was mythic rare, but it ended up not getting played.
I gotta go look this up afterwards.
That's like, I mean, that's not that bad. I traded away, like, remember when Theros, or what was it? It was back in the Gate Crash time, or like when what the fuck is the Gate Crash and then Dragon's Maze came out. I traded some guy 2 Advent. I traded 2 Advent Worms, or whatever the fucking the flash in the
Advent
spell
Worm.
Advent Worms
Worm.
for 2 Steam Vents. Because they were like, when Advent Worm first came out, it was like a $6 card or something like that.
Yeah.
When, like, before anyone knew it was just completely unplayable. in that format. And I was like, oh, Steam Vents, I'm never going to need these. This is fucking lands. What am I going to do with these? I'm like, I've never played these colors. Oh, little did I know.
That's it.
I wish I had those now.
I don't know. So mine's pretty bad. I traded Hot Sauce, the Courser, for a foil guild. And,
Oh, yeah.
And it was like some other like crap card.
Yeah,
it was like some
stuff.
throw-in crap card. But I was like, oh, that foil guild, man, it's awesome.
I looked through all the lists, like that, what is it, the collection list that's on TCG Player.
Yeah.
And honestly, all my shit is like so cheap now.
Oh,
all the shit is just like everything that was
Like
10 is now fucking 3.
Like all the gods
so it's like
have
you
come
can't
down.
even sell it really. You're gonna get like $1 for it. Who gives a
Yeah,
shit?
you might as well
It's
hang on
not
to
worth
it.
my time. Freaking sell for $1 unless I sell 100 of them.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
it's not so bad because a lot of the cards that we buy, like when they're new, a lot of cards we play. So it's not like, oh, I'm just buying it just to spec on it. Like I would never do that. Like right when a set comes out, like, oh, just buy it because I know it's going to be $1 million.
Yeah.
Because then a lot of times, like 9 out of 10 times, you're going to get burned. Like you might get that one set where you make money on it, or you actually get that Thundermaw Hellkite before anyone knows about it. But
Yeah.
it's very rare.
I was lucky enough to jump on the Courser bandwagon before it shot up.
Yeah, luckily I got mine at $5 a piece. Ooh.
Yeah.
All right, how about this? Athreos, I bought it at like $18 and now it's 11.
Yeah.
Because I wanted it and I knew it was going to go down, but I kind of didn't know it was going to go down. And then Mana Confluence I bought at 14 and now it's down to like 10.
Well, that'll stay. I think that's going to be $10 for the life of the standard.
Yeah, I think that's its floor.
Dude, Garrick is, or whatever you want to call him, Garrick is fucking $7 right now. And that
Really?
shit, when I pulled it, was like worth 20.
Yeah.
Color of the Beast?
Yeah, Color of the Beast.
Oh, I might have to pick some of those up.
There's all kinds of shit that I'm like, wow, this stuff. Oh, how about this? Here's my worst one.
I
I
just like
bought
him.
Blood Baron at its peak.
Oof.
Ouch.
I bought it at like $14.50 or something like that, or $14, and now it's like
Well, he's still a good card.
$4.50.
He's still a really good card, but he's going down because it's rotating out. But he's still a fucking
He's
badass.
only a player just because of Mono Black, or the Mono Black Devotion variants. That's the only reason why. I think if you didn't have the Mono Black, it pretty much wouldn't be there.
And
What are we talking about, though? Let's go back
action.
to
I think we're going to
Mono
go.
Black.
Okay, we're talking about the Mono Black.
I think we should
Blood
probably
Baron.
still finish off our.
I like
intros.
this. This is, but
Yeah.
I do kind of like to talk about like
Just
really
our
things, kind of
horrible,
Yeah.
horrible
decisions.
Yeah.
Our horrible choices as younger Magic players.
Well, not even okay. So I got one from not that long ago. I bought into Pelucranos and Stormbreath Dragon like right before they started going down. So it was like a month or two, like 2 months ago probably.
Yeah.
You bought in at what, like $15, $17?
The dragons were like 15, and Pelucranos was
It was below 10 at that time.
it was 8
Yeah,
or
it
something.
was probably around 7. I think $7, $8 like the peak is when it hit. I think
Yeah,
that's
but
when
now
it hit.
Pelucranos is like
It's like 5.
5, Stormbreath is like 13 or something.
Yeah.
That's all right. I bought
So it's like
Yeah.
it's not a horrible loss, but it's like I wanted to make sure I got in before
in
like
case it shot up again for next season. Or
It
yeah.
happens though.
Well, I
Could
figured
have happened, you know.
I figured a lot of the or I figured a lot of the a lot of cards are going to rotate out, and then so more pressure is going to be put on those cards to perform well. So I figured everyone was going to start buying them up. So I was like, I want to get them before they shoot up, and then like right after, boom.
Yeah, well, you never know. They might still go up. Yeah, Stormbreath is always a player.
Oh,
I think he's going to be.
I think Stormbreath is
around.
going to go up because the whole next set is about dragons. So, well, not in 15, but after that.
Yeah, the Khans of Takir.
Yeah, it's
they'll
gonna be-
probably be like Dragons of Takir or whatever.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Sounds
have
probably
a
one of
lot
the
of.
sets.
You have to watch out for that. Supposedly this plane, when we go to the plane, all the dragons are gone at the start of it. So
the
Maybe they're all dead.
And then they
Yeah.
zombie dragons.
Oh, zombie
Everybody loves
dragons!
zombie
human
dragons.
zombie dragons.
That's actually the title of my new single, Zombie Dragons.
Zombie dragons.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I
Dragons
bought
in
in on
disguise.
Stormbreath at like $25 a piece when they first came out.
But that's what
But that was
everyone
like
did,
that was like my deck. Like I played that.
Yeah,
shit.
totally different.
I still
You
play the
got
shit
your
out of them.
money's worth.
Yeah, I'm like,
out of
I
this
have like what, like $80, $100 in these cards. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't matter because I play them still. They're like houses.
Yeah.
I'm never disappointed to see a Stormbreath dragon in my hand.
though.
Never.
Yeah,
Unless I-
you are
unless I have
when all you have green
no
mana.
mana. I'm like, oh, what
Yeah.
are these forests doing here?
Exactly. So he keeps his hand. He has 3 dragons and then 1 mountain and two,
Yeah,
horse
it's
or whatever. He's like, we'll get there. We'll get there.
You always gotta live on a dream.
Yeah.
You guys keep the hope.
What, you don't live in magical Christmas land?
But yeah.
Fantastic.
I guess let's finish out what we've
Yeah,
been
that-
up
you guys
to. We
still
got
have the-
we got distracted by sweet misfortunes of magic. Pretty much all I've been doing is playing Watch Dogs. I have been sucked into that game. I think last podcast I had only played like 20 minutes of it, and I was still kind of getting used to it. And I just beat it yesterday
Oh,
or the
nice.
day before.
Sweet.
And it is one of the best console games I've played in a very long time.
Just say it's the best one.
I wouldn't say it's the best one because it's hard to judge because at a certain time in a certain period when like Super Nintendo was out, like when a game came out for its time, like it was like super awesome, and then you have to kind of parallel that to when this game came out during its time. So you kind of have to
Kind of hard to go back.
So what
with
you're
those-
saying is
usually
Pong
have the
is the greatest game ever.
Yeah. You have to compete with nostalgia. I mean, like when
Yeah.
you say, "Oh, this is the best console game ever," it's like it's kind of hard when you're like comparing it to like Zelda, Mario, all those things you like grew up with, and you have like fond memories of.
And,
Well-
nostalgia is like real personal. Where like maybe I would be a huge fan of Mega Man, but I actually didn't even play, say like Mario or something. I did.
Yeah.
Or say like better example, I didn't play like a lot of like Street Fighter.
yeah.
Where that was like a huge fucking game. And I played it a little bit arcade style, but I never was a person that like when I got in the arcade, I would just go to Street Fighter and play it for an hour.
Yeah.
It would be like a 10-minute thing or less. But I would play like super off-road all day.
All
yeah.
day long.
So I try and when I tell people about a game, when I tell people about past games, like I try and keep the nostalgia factor out of it, like when I'm giving the game a grade or whatever. But it's kind of like with like the Game Informer magazine. Like, okay, so here's the example. When Tony Hawk 2 came out, it was like the first game to ever get like a perfect 10. Because I don't know if you guys remember, but like Tony Hawk 2, like 1 was good, but like 2 like
Blew
took
my
it,
mind.
yeah, took it to the next level. It was
Still
fucking
Picking
awesome.
up pieces of my brain.
Yeah.
That game.
And so it's kind of like that where you have to base the games coming out now on the same scale, So games nowadays, like, I don't know what they gave Watch Dogs, but Watch Dogs was probably like a 9 or something like that. So you know what I mean? Like, you have to
Yeah.
base it on the same scale and not like look back like, oh well, this has 1 million more processing power, so of course this game's going to be better. Like, okay, so they gave Need for Speed, the newest one, they gave it like a 9.2. I'm
Really?
like, or 9.25. I'm like, they are getting kind of like throwing these grades out there kind of willy nilly.
Very liberal with their score.
Not
huh?
to say that it's like, I don't know if it's a bad game or not, but like, you can't just be giving out.
You could say it's a bad game. It's fine.
Yeah, it's
Need for
probably.
Speed is ridiculous.
just-
We just lost the 2 developers that were listening for Need for Speed that were listening to the podcast.
Yeah, it's like Madden. Like, okay, Madden 2015, that's not going to be a mind-breaking game, So anyways, Watch Dogs, it's fucking awesome.
Would you recommend it?
I'd recommend it to everybody. It has one of the best...
What if I have no thumbs?
If you have no
recommend
thumbs,
Ben?
fucking get some prosthetics, my friend. Or start
Get it on the PC.
pecking with your nose. There you go. But it has one of the best, like, online, like, PvP multiplayer aspects to it where you're just playing your normal single-player campaign, and let's say you're, like, in between missions. You're just traveling to the mission or you're doing some little side mission or whatever. And all of a sudden, it says you're being hacked. So, essentially, another person, online came into your game without you knowing it, and now they're hacking you, and you have to find them before, like, they finish hacking you from, like, 1% to 100%.
What happens?
You just get, like, basically, like, multiplayer points, and the more multiplayer points you get, the more unlocks you get, and stuff like that.
You die.
Well, when they're
In real
hacking you,
life.
do they take anything away from you?
Like currency points,
You
whatever.
don't lose anything from losing the PvP thing, do you? Or do they?
Well, you get... Okay, so there's, like, lifetime of the PvP point. It's called notoriety. So there's, like, a lifetime rating, and so just, like, your rating in the world is affected. Like, you don't get actual,
So
like,
it's just
points.
rating.
Yeah, it's just rating. You don't, like... a guy didn't come into your house and like slap you in the face.
Like,
Or
you didn't do
lose.
anything.
Say like you wouldn't have like 100,000 credits, and you get hacked, they wouldn't take like half of it or something.
No. But there is like a real sense of pride because it's like it's you. They're coming into your single player campaign.
We
My
must
house.
protect this house.
Yeah.
We must protect this house.
Yeah. But it's just really cool because there's all
kinda
sorts
cool.
of places to hide and like, so basically the game you're a hacker and so they could be like anyway they could just be like standing in a crowd and like pretending to talk to people and you have to like focus on everybody's face to like hack them or identify them. So you have to go around and like look at everybody's faces and try and they'll pop up like, oh, this is the intruder or whatever. So you're like going around like looking people on benches
Shoot
or like
him in the head.
you can like you gotta kill them. Of course, you gotta kill them. But they could be like hiding in cars or like it's just it's something that hasn't really been done before.
That's cool.
So I highly recommend it. And
I saw one dude
think I gotta
he
rub
got
one out.
into a car and he was pretending like he was one of the AI and he was driving around the block. Just all the time, he just kept driving around.
Just go in a circle. Like this AI is really dumb.
Waiting at like the stoplights.
Yeah.
Just waiting to let turn green. Just hanging out there, changing the radio station, whatever.
That's pretty funny.
Fucking badass.
Yeah.
I
That's
love playing like open world games in that way.
Yeah.
Where you like almost want to follow the rules.
Yeah.
Like I feel bad. I don't feel bad, but you know what I mean. Yeah. Like I want to avoid just driving on sidewalks and just being a maniac. I'm like, screw it. Let me just see how I can do it if I can actually like obey the rules of the road more or less. You
Yeah.
know?
Life.
Just kind of
Yeah.
pass when I can, not just like blast through the middle of two cars or whatever else. It's just like hilarious that way. I don't know why. It's
This game actually rewards you for like not mowing down people. You know, like in Grand Theft Auto, like it's Grand Theft Auto. You can kind of like get away with shit. You know,
yeah.
like
You kill,
unrealistic
you kill like
stuff.
10 people, then you're gonna get caught.
I don't know,
You
I've
kill,
seen the
like,
cops in
4.
that game, man. They just don't give a shit. Just run on the sidewalk. Oh, pedestrians! Oh, I'm chasing this guy.
Yeah.
So like if you kill pedestrians or injure pedestrians, like your status goes down or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So like you're like the vigilante in the town.
I want Paragon. Damn it.
Yeah.
And so when you get like below a certain like point, they label you like an anarchist or whatever. And so like you'll be going to like a pawn shop or something, wanting to buy something. Like I went to a pawn shop and my like rating or my status is really low. And so like the guy was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And then like on the TV in the background was like, "Watch out for this man, he's dangerous." And the guy was like smiling at me, and you see his hand like slowly moving for the alarm, and then he like
Sick.
does the alarm button and like runs out the back, and I'm like, "Why the fuck did he do it?" And I was like, "Oh, my fucking status is I'm a fucking
that's pretty
maniac."
cool.
That is pretty cool.
It's just like little stuff like that, and also like Grand Theft Auto when you're driving on the sidewalk and then like people like jump into your path. Like there's none of that. And the
There's no
driving,
suicidal pedestrian.
yeah, and the driving's a lot better. There's just a whole bunch of like little stuff, like with explosions. Like if you're super close to it, like it'll knock you on the ground. But if you're kinda close to it, it'll just kind of like make you stumble. So it's like just little stuff like that they took the time to like make the difference in the animation. So
That's so cool.
I'm obsessed with it.
Sounds like it.
But I beat the game, so I'm ready to like come back to the Magic community.
About time.
What about you?
Cool.
Hot sauce?
Nothing.
No.
Yeah, not super.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hot
soup.
You know, it just reminds me of Brian and Danny and all those guys when I used to do all the clubbing and all that shit when we were 21. If he's trying to get through a crowd, they would make me like laugh into tears every single time. They'd be walking through the crowd, they'd be like, "Hot coffee, lady with a baby, hot coffee, everyone back up, hot coffee," and so everyone would be like, right away, of course, you hear that,
Yeah.
you're backing the fuck up, and all he's trying to do is
I don't want any hot
all
coffee
he's
for
trying to do
me.
is cut to the front of the line. I'm like, you guys that's like so clever. It's only going to work once.
Yeah.
But if you go to a new spot, it'll fucking work every time. It's so funny. So anyone out there, let me know your story about that. It's hilarious. What have I been doing really though? I mean, I've started playing Diablo 3 a little bit. It's Diablo 3. You get better loot. Drops are pretty
Yeah.
nice. That's about it. I had my graduation ceremony last Friday, so I got like $500 in like tools and gift cards and cashola.
My little boy's growing up.
And then it's all done now. You have like your 21st birthday.
Yeah.
And then
that's it, right?
I have this thing, and it's pretty much it.
You got 2 more occasions left.
What, marriage and a kid?
Marriage and kid.
And your funeral.
I mean, you want to classify those as occasions? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, pretty much that. You got that left over, but it's just another thing that's like gone. And now nobody's ever gonna care again. You know, everyone's what happened for me now, and then if I ever bring something like that up again, like, oh, I got this new thing, like, dude, you already did it. You're good. Fucking
All news, son.
leave it alone. Pass the torch, bro.
Just do your fucking job and shut up.
Exactly.
Yeah, I got a new raise, or I got a promotion. It's about time, right?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, you're fucking 40. Yeah. Finally, yeah, exactly. No one's proud when you get old. You know, you never have those
Took you
moments.
this long? Shit.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
It's the old, like, Louis C.K. bit. There's like, oh, I helped a 40-year-old man across the street today. Like, no, what? Nobody does
Yeah,
that.
about that. Yeah.
I feel really good about myself.
It's that middle age though. When you're really old, then you can be helped across the street, and you can be cute and just be whatever. And you do something that's like good. Then it's like, oh man, look how he's so old and he's still doing this. That's amazing. And
Yeah,
if you're
good
like,
for him.
If you're writing that like 35 to 55, like nobody's gonna give a shit. It's about everything that
Get out
you
of the
do
way,
is
jackass.
expected.
Yeah.
I donate all this money to charity. It's like, yeah, well, you're fucking in your prime of money. Of course, you better donate.
Yeah,
some shit,
give back, you fucking
Yeah,
jerk.
give back. Exactly. But fantastic.
Oh, man.
But no, I don't know. I haven't done anything. That's it. I mean, I've put together green good stuff deck and a white good stuff deck just because I want to play with some stuff before it rotates out, and that's it. It's nothing for me to like talk about. Imagine like, what's the best rare for 1 mana? I'm playing 8 of or 4 of that. No, but in white.
I know. Yeah.
And then what's the best?
Elvish Mystic.
Yeah, always Elvish Mystic.
Brymaz and Fiendslayer, whatever Paladin, you know, and 2 Elspeths, Precinct Captain, you know, Soldier of the Pantheon, like all this shit that is just going to be like good stuff. I'm going to play it, and that's all I'm doing. So
good stuff.
Nice.
And
Nykthos anywhere? Nykthos?
Yeah, 2 Nykthos.
Oh, I need to get some more Nykthos.
Oh, man.
but I did the green is actually a little bit of Simic.
You better pick up Nykthos now before the next set, in case there's actually like good
That's
synergy.
the one thing I actually need to get. That's
I have 4.
I think
I spent too much.
$3, I think. Let me see.
Yeah, they're like $4.
Yeah, they're cheap right now.
They're not bad
Wait,
at all.
let me look.
I paid $10 for it.
You know they're gonna be good, like late, like somewhere down the line, like somebody's gonna break it in some format.
Well, they're good right now on Devotion List.
They're good, but I mean, like it's gonna
Not
be
like super broken.
It's gonna be broken at some point in
when
Magic.
when it works, it is broken, but it doesn't work hardly. You can you can fuck it up
You
a lot of
need
ways.
a lot of things that cost a lot of mana that does a lot of stuff to make Nykthos good.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, Nykthos doesn't do anything. You're just putting in a bunch of like 2/2s.
The best deck that takes advantage of Nykthos is mono green, just for Miscutter Hydra.
Shit, yeah, dude, because it has all the X, yeah, exactly.
Hydra, Pelucranos.
Yeah, just all the good
like
stuff.
Garrick, really.
Hydra
really
Broodmaster.
Hydra Broodmaster, yeah, that's coming out. The Genesis Hydra.
Speaking of Hydra Broodmaster or Genesis Hydra,
Genesis Hydra.
Genesis, that's the one.
Genesis Wave.
Speaking
Genesis
of
Wave.
the Sega Genesis,
Yeah, exactly.
we have some more M15 spoilers that have coming out recently.
'cause
Today,
what- no,
yesterday.
Dude, pretty good words right there.
few
Dude,
days.
I'm
Putting
a
them together.
master at
He
sentences.
is
Right, the wordsmith, right?
Yeah, the linguist to end all linguists.
I know words.
Yeah. I shouldn't say
Really?
anything.
I had no idea.
I'm absolutely the most pathetic one here when it comes to the shit coming out of my mouth.
But yeah, I think M15 is coming out in July.
Yeah, it's actually next month.
Yeah, it's
I
like,
don't
but
know
it's
when
like
it's coming out.
it's
I
like
know
July-
spoiler season starts
No.
June 23rd.
So we're getting
But
spoilers
it's like
coming
July
out.
13th or some shit. Like it's pretty early in July.
No, I actually have it on my phone because my girlfriend is going out of town that weekend that it's coming out.
Magic
so.
all weekend.
Yeah.
But
I'm just
anyways,
getting
yeah,
magic.
it's like spoiler season coming up. I think.
Spoiler season starts for M15 June 23rd.
Yeah, so right now we're recording on a Monday, so spoilers start next Monday from what we're recording today.
All right.
It's the 18th, right?
Nope, 28th.
Oh, it's way off.
It's a launch weekend is 18th to 20th. Release date. Oh, this is Magic Online. Release date is July 28th.
Yeah, they
Magic.
usually release on Magic on like a week or two after the.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh,
the
is it? Oh, so
18th,
it is the 18th maybe then.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's July 18th.
So what? The pre-release is the weekend before that.
Yeah. So it's coming up quick, but yeah, there's a lot of cool cards that are returning in M15 because the M15s are the core set. So every year, if you don't know, that there's always a core set that Magic that Wizards puts out, and it's always Magic like M10, M11, the year. So this year it's actually, even though it's 2014, they're releasing the 2015 set, which is it's basically has all your good stuff, your core good stuff, and they're actually doing a bunch of reprints, which is kind of unique on this set where they're doing it. They're going to have a bunch of the standard staples that come in a core set, but they're actually not going to be in the booster packs, which is kind of unique. They're actually going to be available through starter kits you can get through your local game store for free. But the cool thing about that is that for people like us or other people that have been playing Magic for a long time that like the core sets, when you actually open a booster pack of a core set and you see like your Shivan Dragons, your cancels that you have tens of hundreds of these commons or uncommons or like the rares. Like Shivan Dragon, I think it's a rare.
It's a rare,
Yeah.
but
I
it's
think at one point in time it used to be like the bee's knees of like dragon, like Magic cards, but nowadays it's just like old news. Like nobody wants to see it anymore, and it's just
like back then, like a 4/4 flyer for 6 was
was
the
like
best you could do.
breaking breaking your mold. Like oh my
They
god.
play that, you're like, I can see.
Yeah.
This is like when they get the time machine and you're like, dude, check out my deck of today and show them. And they're like, whoa!
This is not Magic.
4 mana. What?
What? 3/3 for 3.
Back in my
Insane.
But yeah, so I mean that's kind of cool because like I don't want to see Shivan Dragon in my rare slot of my M15 booster that I just bought because I already have
Absolutely
like 8 Shivan Dragons. So they're making Shivan Dragon available to you if you want it, and you can still play it in standard, so it's still a legal card, but they're just not putting it in the pack.
They're not going to waste your rare spot on cards that most people already have plenty of.
So instead
The
of
gods
getting a Shivan Dragon
of Theros.
99% of the time, I can get a hot soup.
Yeah, hot soup is like an obvious upgrade.
Yes,
No soup for you.
exactly.
No soup.
So, but I mean that's really cool. I find that awesome. I don't know if they've done this before. They may have, but I think this is the first time I've ever heard of Wizards doing this for a core set or any booster pack. Because I mean that's awesome. I mean a lot of the cards that are coming back are really good cards from older sets, from older core sets, or even some from I think ones from like Zendikar or something like that. They have some really cool creatures coming back. But I think that's an awesome idea because I don't want any more Shivan Dragons, honestly, guys.
And they're not
A lot of
like...
hate for that dragon, you guys.
There's
A lot of
probably
I
only
love it,
like
but it's too
1 or
much.
2 cards in there that might be constructed playable, and so like I like it. I like just having, you have to have the limited side because that is a very fun format, in which Shivan Dragon is definitely a good card for the limited, but when it comes to constructed, it's not really something you want to be dealing with.
Yeah. The thing I like is like their core set, the M15, they have Lightning Strike in there instead of Searing Spear or like Lightning Bolt or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because it's already in Theros, but they're putting it again in M15.
So it will stick around longer.
Yeah, because I think they need that red
Oh, wait, no,
removal.
No, it's in the same.
Yeah.
It's the same
block.
thing. It'll be the same block, but I think they needed that red removal in
Yeah.
limited.
Oh, okay.
But they didn't. I think they were afraid to reprint Searing Spear, which I wish they would have. But that would let burn players have 2 mana, 3 damage burn spells.
Yeah.
Which I think probably been too much, but
But
Yep.
you need those
I
type
love
of
my
burn
Searing
spells, especially in
Spears.
red, because that's most of its removal.
Would that be
either gonna
hilarious?
it's gonna do
God, if
burn
they had
damage
Searing
or it's
Spear,
gonna
it would
take
be
your
so
creature.
crazy. I would.
What if there was a deck that you play like 15 lands and you'd play like the red, so 45 or so 2 mana 3 damage burn spells. That's
Yeah.
all you play. If you could just play instead of playing 4 of each, you can play. They just had enough, and you can just fucking try to get through it every turn. 3 damage, 3 damage, 3 damage, 3 damage.
That would be so
3 damage.
brokingly good. But yeah, I think like some of the notable cards I think in that they've spoiled so far, because Duels of the Planeswalker, which is the digital version, like the Xbox or like the Steam, the actual game version of Magic the Gathering, they spoiled a lot of not a lot of them, like maybe like I don't know 20 of the new cards through that.
Yeah.
People like actually saw the video and like they pause it on like the screens and like they can extract information from that way.
There's always a grain of salt with that because there's a lot of cards that were in the Duels of the Planeswalkers game that have this like D15,
Yeah.
D for Duels of the Planeswalkers. That a lot of these cards that are in the game might not actually be in paper. So
Absolutely.
You always got to take these spoilers, especially the ones from the Duels of the Planeswalkers.
Yeah, because they're not official yet. They're
Yeah,
just
so
what people think.
there's a high probability that will be in there, but it's not for certain yet.
So when do the official spoilers start coming out?
Spoiler season starts June 23rd.
June 23rd.
Official spoiler season.
Yeah, that's when Wizards Mothership starts giving out like different people
Yeah.
magazines. And
So once
They
anything
all
from
follow.
June 23rd out is official. So that's gonna be in the core set for sure.
Make it official.
Well, isn't like Waste Knot?
Yeah, Waste Knot's official.
And
There's a card that was
the
developed.
Defender, the red one.
Yeah,
Defender.
They spoiled a card I think recently that was developed by one of the I don't know, head designers or one of the lead guys at Blizzard that did like World of Warcraft. Help design or build or something to do with World of Warcraft, and he actually got to design a Magic the Gathering card.
Didn't they give out like a bunch of slots to different
15.
Yeah, 15 slots.
That's
slots?
the number. 15 models.
Magic 15?
No, but that's the number this time around. 15.
Yeah.
So whenever they're gonna do something like this, it's gonna be like 15. You're gonna have 15 cards or 15 whatever.
But this one's kind of cool. It's called Xanthrid Skyblade, I think it's called.
Skyblade.
But it's really cool because it's a black creature, but it gets different colors abilities such as hexproof.
Yeah.
Which
so
is
it's a Xanthrid Skyblade. It's a 2 and a black for a 2/1 with hexproof, so it can't be the target of spells or abilities. And what I really like about these core sets, and when the keywords come out, they actually have the reminder
the little
text
flavor text.
Yeah, so these core sets. One of the things is the core sets are kind of like beginner friendly. And they say the Theros block. Those were like the expert expansions.
Yeah, I think they used to print that on the
yeah, exactly.
Something like that. Expert level.
If you're new, you're thinking about getting a Magic, hopping in a core set is the perfect time to do it.
Oh yes.
But yeah, anyways, back to the Xanthrid Skyblade. It's a 3 mana 2/1 with hexproof, and you pay 3 and a black. Until end of turn, Xanthrid Skyblade loses hexproof and gains first strike and death touch.
Yeah, so that already on its own, a 2/1 hexproof is already great in black. Like you don't see that hexproof in black. And then with the added benefit, you can give it first strike and death touch, which pretty much just blocks and kills anything for 4 mana.
I think it's cool that that's a cool mechanic of losing an ability and gaining 2 other abilities.
Yeah, swapping something around.
Yeah, so it like makes it good in a certain situation, but also like weak to some stuff. Vulnerable, yeah. I think that's a really cool design. And like, didn't the Plant vs. Zombies guy make a card?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, that was
there's a community made card which was Waste Knot.
Genesis
Hydra, yeah.
Genesis Hydra was the guy who made Plants vs. Zombies, pretty much.
But you guys got to go online and check out the art for this Xanthrid, the Skyblade, because it looks almost like a WoW rogue or something like that, like the picture. It's like very reminiscent of a World of Warcraft rogue.
It's very roguish, where they're in the shadows and the dark, and they got like some like small little blades on them and stuff.
Yeah, it does kind of look like it.
But that's one of the newer kind of cool cards that was spoiled in M15. I think there's another one that just came out, a promo of Garruk. It's like a 8 mana or 9 mana. Kill all creatures in Garruk's Wake. Yeah, kill all creatures and that you don't control, and destroy all planeswalkers
that you don't control.
Which is redundant. When they could just said like kill all creatures and planeswalkers you don't control.
Yeah.
Well, they have to add the you don't control part because for older formats, because you can own it, but you can also not control it. So they have to say that they have to put that clause on all of it. Pretty much.
Are you going to domesticate something? Is that what's going on? Put domestication on my.
There's effects like that, so that's why it's there. I agree. It doesn't it doesn't look good aesthetically, but I see why from like a design standpoint it has to be there.
It just looks funny when it's printed twice.
Yeah.
It's like they could just said it once, but then people would be like, "Oh, it says destroy all creatures, so yours die too, and then planeswalkers you don't control." So just it's kind of nice just to specifically state what it does instead of have room for error.
They just think we're all so stupid.
I know. Like, I don't know how to read words, which I don't.
We are kind of dumb.
What game are we playing again?
I think
MRT.
I think the highlight of M15 is Elvish Mystics being reprinted. I think that's pretty much the end all.
Yeah, close the book on that one.
That's M15.
Actually, that's the end of the podcast. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Elvish Mystic.
This podcast is brought to you by Elvish Mystic. 1 mana, 1/1. But yeah.
Brought to you by the Forest that was produced by Elvish Mystic. What other cards you guys excited about in M15? I don't even know which ones
I'm waiting for them to spoil. We're
not
reprinting
yet about anything
Mutavault or something
We're reprinting
stupid.
Lifebane Zombie.
Oh,
I'm not playing green or white then.
What? They're reprinting it?
No, we don't know yet.
Oh man, are y'all excited? Like what?
If they are, I quit Magic with the reprint.
Right.
Reprint fucking.
I'm excited for them to reveal like the Planeswalkers, just because.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like talk about Garuk.
Well, there's talk about like them kind of shaking up what each Planeswalker does. You know, they're gonna try and put like a spin on it, or at least that's the talk that's been out there. I don't think there's anything that Wizards has specifically put out saying, oh well, you know,
Just speculation.
Jace is gonna make fucking 1/1 Death Touchers. You know, it's like just speculation, but I'm really hoping that they kind of put a twist on the traditional colors and Planeswalkers.
I just hope they reprint Chandra, because the last Chandra, the Chandra that's out legal right now, the Pyromancer or whatever it is, like that's I think like one of the best Chandras
One of the
that
better
they've had.
ones.
But they've printed it. They did M13 and M14 for that guy.
Oh, was it? And M13 too?
Mhm.
Oh well, maybe.
I thought that was the first time
there's-
that was printed.
Yeah.
The Pyromaster.
I think.
Yeah, I
that
think
was
M14 was
Okay, it's a possibility. I believe that they had 2 Planeswalkers that were reprinted for they were in M13 and M14.
Oh, it was Liliana and
It was Liliana.
Memory Adept, Jace Memory Adept.
Yeah.
They were in 13 and 14.
Okay.
But I hope they
And
Chandra.
a Johnny.
Chandra.
He was in
was it?
13 and 14.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that's what I was thinking of then. Because I was saying, when I looked, I knew who Johnny was, but I'm like, what the fuck? Everything was like reprinted? What the hell?
I just want to use my fucking promos that I got.
I want Baby Jace. Give me Baby Jace.
But
Give me-
yeah, that's cool. I don't know what
I got
Planeswalkers
pictures
are.
if you want to. Like,
Baby Jace. Oh, fuck. But yeah, I don't know if there's any other crazy spoiled M15 cards that are like just mind blowing besides like Waste Not and like Genesis Hydra.
Resolute Archangel.
Oh god.
Excuse me. Like it's a 7 mana 4/4 flyer angel, right? Which is
So already kind of gay.
pretty bad.
Angel,
bad.
bro.
I mean, there's Sarah Angel, which is on the same level, but has some other text on it, which makes it a completely different card. When a Resolute Angel enters the battlefield, if your life total is lower than your starting life total, it becomes your starting life total.
yeah, it's good.
So, it becomes your starting life total. So you go up to 20. Every time it enters the battlefield, it goes to 20. And we had a card in, what was it, Journey, I think? Skybind? Get to blink out a non-enchantment permanent, maybe, when you play an enchantment.
No, yeah. But it's a non-enchantment permanent, right?
Yes,
So, okay.
non-enchantment permanent. You play an enchantment, and you get to blink a non-enchantment permanent. So I want to be blinking this Resolute Archangel all day long, and drawing all my cards, and going back to the Fun Police route.
If enchantments were like flash, instants or something like that, something about it, then maybe it would work, but it'd probably be able to get killed. You'd probably be able to destroy instant spell, and you're just like, that sucks. But either way, I agree that would be a sweet little combo.
It's white, so either way it dies the Doomblade. So,
Well, Doomblade might not be there. We don't know yet.
So I got something to talk about.
Yeah.
Because I was looking through all of them, and I'm like, I'm pretty meh, because, they haven't real spoiled much. So right now, I can really care less about the M15 in a lot of ways. I like Waste Not, I like some of the other stuff, but I see this one is called Mahamodi Jin, right?
Oh, that
It's like the guy's name. His creature, he's a Jin. DJINN.
A Jin.
And so before you actually read it, you just see there's just text everywhere on the card, right? It's fucking stacked. And it's got a name, so he's got to be somebody, right? Nope. He is a 5/6 flyer for 6, and he's a rare. And that's it. And all the text in there is just all flavor and explanation of flying. But when I saw it, I was like, oh, what is this? That guy looks like the most interesting one of the set. Giving him a name should represent that he's going to have something special about him. Something that his tribe, his whatever contributes, that's specific to him. No, he is a 5/6 flyer in blue for 6.
Just
What the fuck? What is the point of that?
A draft rare.
Just name him whatever. Just name him.
I think he's from an older
anything.
set, right?
Yeah.
As a reprint.
Yeah.
reprint.
When
Yeah,
I
dude,
saw
it's
that,
yuck.
like when I was going through, when they
Yeah.
released these 30 cards, the ones we were just talking about, where they have standard legal cards in them that you can't get in the boosters.
Yeah.
Like when I was looking at the ones they were bringing back, I was like, dude, fucking, who got shafted? I get a 5/6 for 6, and I get a worse dissolve canceled. So it's like, fuck.
Pretty sure, since it's coming back in the M set, it's just kind of fluff.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I understand that you can't
Yeah,
have
yeah.
really powerful things in a core set because that's not what it's there for.
Yeah, they just
But-
need stuff to kind of fill out the set.
Why do you give me the crappiest of the fluff? At least give me like a little nugget of fluff, and I'll
A
be
nugget
happy.
of fluff.
Yes, a
I
nugget.
like that. Nugget of fluff. But yeah, I think
No.
it's more like, yeah, it is core set, so I mean, they can't do too craziness because they got to sell those expansions. Like, you can't give you all the
Hello.
good shit in core
Mutavault. They
set.
put Mutavault on a core
Well,
set.
I think that was a mistake.
Oh, we can look through M14 right now. I mean, it was pretty heavy with some good
Well, I
cards.
mean,
there's good hate cards.
Scavenging Ooze, Lifebane Zombie, Xantha Necromancer, Doomblade.
That's a lot. I thought there was whenever time I look at it, I'm like, there's actually like more
There's
cards
all the
than I thought in this
Planeswalkers,
shit.
of course.
It's a good solid foundation. I wouldn't say it's like blow your mind crazy, but it's good foundation.
None of these
everything.
cards you make a deck around. Let's just say that. None of these cards are like linchpins to
That's
decks.
fair. Well,
all these cards
Archangel
are,
Thune is pretty sweet though.
That is a bomb and an angel.
but
And an
it's
angel.
not
And
like
Xantha Necromancer, I mean.
there's
There
never
are
been
humans
really
that are-
a deck revolved around specifically.
No, that's fair.
Archangel,
Like
you know what I mean?
I agree with that sense.
Yeah.
But they are super powerful.
They
I
are
mean,
powerful, but they're never linchpins. They're like a step below it. You know, if they had one extra thing to them, then they could be there. But
They
they're
only
not
had
quite.
an Elspeth.
Exactly.
Sun's
But there
champion.
are like 5 or 6
Yeah, yeah, there's good-
really
how about
key cards.
Primeval
that-
Bounty.
Oh, that is a card.
That card was
If
so
you can get there, what a disaster that you are fucking.
that card was
wonderful.
like undervalued and like right here at the end
Yeah.
before rotation. Like it finally found a home. And
Well, the only reason 'cause it's an
stupid fucking
enchantment.
enchantment.
It's funny.
deck.
It's like an enchantment, and like it's now finally starting to see play, but it's in a block with a lot of enchantment hate. So it just kind of like
Yeah.
it's weird. It's like, oh, we're gonna play this enchantment now all of a sudden when there's all this enchantment hate floating around in the block. Like, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, it is kind of like just it's a ticking time bomb. Like if you
Yeah.
don't deal with it,
Well, it's
like,
inevitability.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to deal with it at some point, or else you're just gonna lose the
It
game.
might as well just be like a Jace Memory Adept for crying out loud. You know,
Yeah.
like you cast anything and you're getting value from it.
But yeah, core set. I am excited just draft it because I love drafting the core sets. Like I drafted M14. Like
I hope
the hell out
M14
of
is
it.
like M14, where we have like turn 20, turn 30 games, and like the card like Opportunity and Divination are just like powerhouses and stuff.
Oh,
I like a format like that where it's really slow and like very on in the early game, like a lot of your decisions don't like affect the game outcome too much,
Right.
but they compound, and if you don't deal with the situation, you lose no matter what you do by not playing it perfectly all the way through.
a lot of more seasoned players like hate core sets, and like I get it. Like there's a lot of just boring.
Well, a lot of
vanilla
stuff they've
reprints.
already seen. Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
all.
it's
Yeah.
boring
I've seen Doomblade
reprints
before.
that just they're nuggets of fluff, and
Nuggets of fluff.
they're just there because those are tools that are needed in the game constantly in standard legal. So I get why they don't like it, but it's just
It's a good base. I don't know. I just like.
Yeah.
I like
love
drafting it.
It's exactly what it says. It's the core. This
Yeah.
is the core. You're going to use a lot of stuff from the core, but you're going to use the majority of your stuff from the expansion sets to make these core cards work.
Yeah, but just even like drafting wise, like I don't mind it. Maybe like in 5-10 years, like I'll
Yeah, we'll be like,
I'll
never
hate
drafting
it,
a core set
like
again.
It's like, how
God.
many times do I have to cast the cards? It's the same thing.
I have 15,000 cancels.
Yeah.
But I don't hate it quite yet, and I definitely see the reason for the core sets. Like I agree with why they put them out and why they
Yeah.
put the cards in them that they do and everything. And with M14 on Moto, I did definitely over 50 drafts on Moto, and so yeah. But I don't know. Like I said, probably the more M sets that come out, the less likely I will be to draft them.
Yeah, that makes sense. But so speaking about drafting, I think we did a little drafting. What was it, last weekend?
Was it last weekend?
Not that long
It was
ago.
1 weekend ago.
Huh.
1 weekend.
One weekend. What did we draft, guys?
I don't even know.
I don't know. I think it's kind of a secret.
Oh well, let's
Almost like a.
let's dig through these documents here. Wait, hold, guys. I think there's other people in on this draft. I think it's a conspiracy.
Oh!
I thought you wanted me to like shut a window.
No, we drafted Conspiracy, and so there was like a lot of people who didn't really like the idea of Conspiracy.
When I first heard Conspiracy, I'm not sold on it. Like when KnifeCity first told me about Conspiracy, when I first I didn't really read about it. I just heard about like the idea of it. I'm like, yeah, that could be kind of crazy, I guess. But I was like, I wasn't sold on it until recently.
Yeah, so if you don't know what Conspiracy is, look it up. But a lot of people don't like it because it's not like competitive. So like the grinders and the people who take shit real seriously don't like it. And it's like, okay, first of all, Magic the Gathering is a game that you're supposed to be enjoying, regardless if you're a professional or you make your living or you're trying to, level up or whatever. Like, it's still just a game that's meant to be fun, and that's kind of what Conspiracy is for me, especially when it has cards that I've never seen before and I've never been able to play with. And plus, I just get to dick around with you guys. Like, I get it if it's at like a Friday Night Magic and I have to play against some like fucking tryhard who's like gonna bitch if he's the first one out. Like, I get that, but it's just it's the essence of the game, which is just have fun and try this like new crazy stuff out.
I feel like it's like drafting Commander slightly.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, how's that kind of feel?
A lot of people have been saying that, and I think it's definitely like that.
But yeah, I mean, that was a lot of fun. Like, when we went into it, when we drafted Conspiracy, I had really no idea. I knew, like, the one Chase Rare, what was, like, the Dak Faden or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I knew of him, but I didn't really know any other cards. I kind of went into that draft completely blind, which I think really helped with my enjoyment of it. Like, because a lot of times, like, the core sets of expansions, like, I will, like, study the cards.
Yeah.
Before, like, you're supposed to. I mean, when you go into, like, a draft like that, it's, like, competitive. You want to know every card, like, what your pick is, like, what you want to take and what you want to do with them. But, like, this Conspiracy, it was just, like, a kind of like, oh, we're having fun. This is candy.
Yeah.
But,
I mean,
It's candy.
it's a multiplayer format, so you can't. It's not like
Yeah, it's
It's not like
crazy.
Magic. It's multiplayer. It's meant to just have fun. There are cards they bring back that have cool interactions and.
yeah, the multiplayer format going, having 4 people at the table playing at the same time, like kind of like the alliance is almost kind of going, like one player is getting out of hand, like everyone else teams up, and
So it's a very
nice.
it's a casual format. So if you like Commander, then you're gonna love Conspiracy. If you're looking for like EV, like if you want to like make money off the draft, or if you want Planeswalker points, or if you don't want to like waste your time if you're not gonna get anything out of it monetarily, then don't bother with Conspiracy. But if you're just looking to have a good time, get some people that aren't dicks. And
especially not dicks.
Yeah, especially not dicks with Schefter. Get them together and draft some Conspiracy. Like, I want to get a box and just, the 4 of us be able to draft it like every couple months, just,
Yeah,
hey,
I'll
you want
definitely
the Conspiracy?
get a
Yeah.
box. I'm down to get a box. But yeah,
So let's talk about some cards that we saw in Conspiracy. What were some badass?
we didn't get any crazy good. I don't think any.
No,
good
nobody
mythics.
pulled.
Nobody got like Dak
Nobody pulled
Faden.
dick in that way, but there was some
fun cards we got.
some fun cards that we got.
I got a ton of fun cards I liked.
Yeah, well, I mean, Justin or Quickness got a lot of kind of cool. Did you get a Brainstorm? Yeah, you
I got
Brainstorm.
a Brainstorm. I got Fact or Fiction.
Oh, yeah, Fact or
I got Compulsive Research.
So these a lot of these cards that you're naming, they're like kind of like or like legacy staples or modern staples. They're like
that.
they're
Exactly.
they're good. They're blue cards, right?
Yeah,
they're good blue cards. But no, I think I pulled the only money card I pulled was a foil reflecting pool, which is a land card, which is always lands are always worth good money. And this one it's just a standard land card. When you tap it, you can add one mana to your pool of any type of land that you control that mana could produce. So, like, say I have like an island in play, and I play this card, I can only tap this reflecting pool for an island. Or if I had, like a temple.
So it can't fix your mana, but it can produce any mana you.
Yeah. So, like, say I had if I had like a dual land or something like that, then it could it could produce any.
But
of those colors.
it's not fixing that.
Yeah, it's not like I can produce one mana of any color I choose.
But still cool though.
But it's still something that it's good that it doesn't come in tapped. But I mean,
Or let's say just you're playing 2 colors and a lot of your cards are double costed, like double blue or double black. Like, it definitely helps out in that
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah, but it's the only money card that I got out of my deck. But my deck was kind of I try to do like a synergy, like a commander synergy with defenders. I drafted a lot of white and red defenders, and my main like kind of cool cards that I pulled off were a red-white card called Flame Right. It's a creature human artificer, and it's a 1/1 for red and a white mana, and you can actually pay 1 colorless and tap him, and put a 1/1 colorless construct artifact with defender on the battlefield. Or you could just tap him and sacrifice a creature with defender, and he Flame Right deals 1 damage to target creature or player. So I had this guy out, and I was kind of trying to get as many defenders out as I could and produce as many 1/1 colorless defender tokens. So eventually I could play a red card, which is called the Vent Sentinel. It's 3 colorless, 1 red mana. It's a 2/4 defender, and it has you could pretty much I wouldn't use him as a body. I just use him for his ability, which is a 1 colorless, 1 red mana, and you could tap Flame Right or the Vent Sentinel, and he deals damage to target player equal to the number of creatures with defender you control. So what I was trying to do is just build up as many defenders as I could,
tokens,
get this Vent Sentinel on the field, and just pay the 2 mana and tap him every time and do like
5 damage.
Yeah, 4 or 5 damage to every to target player. So I could just keep whittling and went down with that.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. You have defenders, so like you're gonna protect yourself.
Yeah,
and then you can go around their creatures using that card.
Exactly, and like the deck, I didn't really get to combo off too much because the quickness kind of screwed my plans up with one of his blue enchantments, where I could only tap my Vent Sentinel once to do like 3 damage. But I drafted like a Wakestone Gargoyle, which is a 4 mana 3/4 white defender flying creature where you could. His ability is you can pay 2 mana and allow him to attack as though he didn't have defender. And then I had I think the star kind of card of my deck was this a 1 white mana creature called Pride Guardian, and it's a 0/3 cat monk, and he has defender, but it's whenever he blocks you gain 3 life, which is so big against like anyone that has little creatures. You just pretty much just chomp them all day, and
it stops the first like 3 or 4 turns of your opponent.
Yeah,
and you bring that thing out, and they're like, well, I'm not fucking attacking on my 2/1s and all my other shit. Even if you just don't want to even trade barely,
Yeah, exactly.
It's just 3 fucking life. Jesus Christ.
But unfortunately, I only picked up 1 conspiracy card, which was Brago's Favor. It's essentially you choose before you start the game. You pretty much you secretly name. Or choose a card name, which I chose was Apex Hawks, just because it was I had 3 of them, and they're just 3 mana 2/2 flyers, and I just wanted to get them out sooner. And essentially, this conspiracy says you name that card Apex Hawks or whatever you want, and then spells with the chosen name you cast cost 1 colorless less. So instead of my Apex Hawks costing 3 mana, it was only 2 mana.
Awesome.
Which was
2/2 flyer for 2 mana.
They're all stars in all the games, and they have multi kicker, which means you can pay 1 colorless, 1 white. And every time you pay that 2 mana, it comes on the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it. So if you had excess mana, you could just kick it around many times and get like a 4/4 flyer for 6 or 8 mana or whatever it is. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with my deck. I didn't really get the combo off when we played, but I still was able to. I think did I win the first game that we played?
Oh yeah, you stomped the first.
I won the first game, and then I got annihilated the second game.
Well,
it was fun.
You still were ahead the second game, damn near the whole time. And then we had to gang up on
That's
it.
True. Yeah. The multiplayer aspect of the game kicked in, and
I took home the second game, but not really. It's just only because we all teamed up on you, and I was just the last one. That's all.
Yeah, but that was a lot of fun. I mean, I had good times with this deck, and I'm going to keep this deck together and actually just play it for fun if we ever get together for multiplayer games. But
I drafted a 3-color deck. It was blue, red, white, and I just saw a bunch of the blue cards that I love playing with, like I always wanted to play with, like Brainstorm and Fact or Fiction, things like that. Just like really like, I don't know, to me they're really interesting, and like they have a lot of cool effects with other cards you can do with them. So I was like, it's meant to be like a fun draft. I'm not supposed to take it seriously. I'm not doing like a Theros block draft or anything like that where I want to be competitive and like, get in people's faces and take them down. But I had that. I kind of had the Vent Sentinel combo where I had a couple defenders and that, and then I was like, I had there's this 1 flyer, it's a 4/4 flyer for 6 that you would counter any spell or ability that targeted for the first time each turn, which is really nice. So I was like, it's my finisher. That's it's gonna be really hard to get off the table. It's a 4/4 flyer. It's a pretty big flyer in this set. So it's like, that'll be good. It'll be perfect. I'll have my defenders. I'll have my draw cards. And I had Stasis Cell, which is a 5 mana. You enchant their creature, and it doesn't untap during their next opponent or their next untap step. So they get to attack or use their ability once, and then after that they can't use it again. And then I can pay 4 mana and put it back in my hand to put on another creature if I wanted to.
Love that flexibility.
Yeah,
God, that card would
it's
ruin
great.
me.
It's good, but your guys' decks were too quick and had too many creatures, and I didn't have enough action.
Pick one.
So yeah, I just drafted a lot of stuff I just wanted to play with just because I never had a chance to play with these cards. So I didn't really build or draft a strong deck that had like a clear-cut goal. The only goal I had was just draw a bunch of cards. So that doesn't win you Magic games. So I lost horribly each time. So that was my deck.
My pack one, pick one was Dimir Doppelganger. It's a 1 blue-black for a 0/2. And then I pay 1 blue-black, exile target creature from a graveyard. Dimir Doppelganger becomes a copy of that card and gains this ability.
Oh, it's just like you.
Yeah, that does.
The likeness is
Yeah.
shocking.
My breasts aren't that big, though.
I mean,
Not yet.
Well, when I grew up, though. So, I love blue-black, and I know how to play it. It's just a lot of control and removal. And so I figured, screw it, I'll just jump right in and force it. And I was able to put together kind of a decent deck. I got a Brainstorm and a Compulsive Research. Also, another card that did a lot of work for me was a Vampire Hexmage for a black for a 2/1. Has first strike, and you can sacrifice it and remove all counters from target permanent, which surprisingly in this format was super relevant.
yeah, counters on everything.
Oh, yes.
So that was really good. Once it was done being able to attack or defend profitably, I could just wait and sack it. I also had cool little combo with Wake Dancer. Whenever it has Morbid, so whenever it enters the battlefield, if a creature died this turn, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token on the battlefield. And so I would put Unhallowed Pact on it. So whenever enchanted creature dies, return that card to the battlefield under your control. So when it died, it would come back, and also a 2/2 zombie would come back. So that was kind of cool. But the real workhorses of my deck was the Lurking Automation. I had 2 of those. It's a 5 casting cost artifact creature. Pretty much,
Pain in the dick.
its power and toughness are equal to the number of cards you drafted before it in that pack. So that it was a 5/5 for 5 basically. But I used a conspiracy card on it, Mazio's Preparation. Basically, when it enters the battlefield, it gets an additional 1/1 counter. So it was a 6/6 for 5. I had 2 of those. I also had 2 Cogwork Trackers. It attacks each turn of Fable, and it attacks a player.
Go on.
Pretty
Tell
much,
me more.
whoever passed it to you, it has to attack that person. And obviously, if that person's out of the game, then it can attack anybody. But I also had a Mazio's Preparations on it, so it was a 5/5 for 4. And then I had...
Is that the one that can only attack hot sauce?
Yeah, I could only attack hot sauce.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, he's looking at me writing my name down. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
That's one of the conspiracy mechanic cards.
Yeah, and then I also drafted another conspiracy, Secret Summoning. Basically, when a creature with the chosen name enters the battlefield, I search my library for any number of cards with that name, reveal them, and put them in my hand. So I named the Lurking Automaton. So, yeah, that was basically my deck. I had some other cards, and my deck wasn't super, synergistic. I had a little bit of removal and a little bit of control, but it just couldn't stand up to Reich's, little Pillow Fort with his flyers, because I only had, 1 flyer.
Yeah, a lot of flyers.
All the evasion. All the synergy. It is
But
mine.
I had a lot of fun. It was just kind of fun playing with these cards we've never played with before, and especially with the conspiracy cards.
I just love having to like sit there in my hand of like the draft hand of like just reading like all the cards. Like I have no idea what the hell I'm looking at.
Yeah, exactly.
Like what is this? What is this even?
Exactly.
What about you, Sauce?
So my pack one, pick one is like, it became like a very important card. I was really excited. It was a uncommon conspiracy called Unexpected Potential. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast spells with the chosen name. So, same thing. You write down the name of whatever card you choose before you start playing. And what that allows, why it was so important, is I can go ahead and pick up any bomb I want to from any pack from this point on. It was my pack one, pick one, so I had all the cards to draft. So whatever ridiculous card that I was like, oh, those aren't my colors, or they're fucking 3 colors, or whatever, it didn't matter. I could pick one of those and cast it with this guy and spend my mana how I wanted to. So I did. So I played 3 colors, and the card I chose was not in those colors. And it was Grenzo, Dungeon Warden. Enters the battlefield with X 1/1 counters on him. It's a X, black, and a red. So he comes out as a 2/2, but of course it'll add X and 1/1 counters. You pay 2 colorless. Put the bottom card of your library into your graveyard. If it's a creature card with power less than or equal to Grenzo's power, put it onto the battlefield. So you pay, let's just say you pay X is 4, and then you play your black and your red. So it's a 6/6. Because it comes with 2 to start with. So that means like anything that has a power of 6 or less, which is fucking everything, I could pay 2 mana and potentially bring that shit out. It honestly didn't work that well, but it did scare everybody, so I did like that. Everybody
I was like, oh, what is this? Oh, I gotta read what?
I brought in a couple things, but they were like pretty low threats. But my other card that I had was a immediate action. It's a conspiracy that gives the chosen name haste. I did that with this card, Elfish Aberration. And the reason I did that is it comes out and you can tap it for 3 green mana. And so I was able to, it cost 6 to bring this guy out, so I pay 6, but then I could tap it right away and then, I could just, it's just a fucking,
essentially for
a
3.
mana accelerant.
It's a mana accelerant. What the hell's that card that you...
Elvish Mystic?
No, the double red, double green one. And it brings out, when you bring it out, then it brings to your mana pool a red and a green.
Oh, yeah.
What the hell's that shit called? Burning Tree Emissary.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of that. I mean, you have to tap it, but it is kind of cool to I bring out this thing, well, it makes this thing cheaper, and
yeah,
it was a lot of fun. And plus, I could tap it that turn to flash something else, and I played blue, green, and a little bit of black, and so the blue-green stuff was had a lot of flash and a lot of instance with Morbid, so I'd wait for something to die, and then I'd flash in 3 2/2 wolves.
Oh yeah,
all kinds of shit like that.
I think that was like your biggest part of your deck. Was shitty to play against was when you flashed in those wolves.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
And what was the card that interacted with the wolves?
Oh, it was a 3rd conspiracy card, and that one just gave everything. What is this shit? Come on.
Yeah, I know these guys drafted all the conspiracy cards. I passed the conspiracy cards maybe once or twice. I was like, oh, they'll come back around. I'll get it. And then the third time it comes, I'm like, there's no more conspiracy cards. That's I needed a conspiracy card.
The main thing I was drafting.
I didn't draft a single conspiracy card.
The 3rd conspiracy I got was a common. Creatures you control with the chosen name have tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Well, I had wolf tokens for days, and so I was able to go ahead and, if I needed to, I could just tap that shit for any color I wanted to also, So I had a very good mana accelerant deck, so I could bring out, my hand would be empty, basically, each time. So that's it. I mean, it was sweet. I really enjoyed it. I love Morbid. Morbid is one of those...
That's an Innistrad mechanic, right?
I just love that, the mechanic and everything. Dethrone didn't really do shit.
The Dethrone's actually a kind of cool mechanic. I think it's
cool,
only
but it didn't do anything for the games we played, I felt like. But
I had 1 card with Dethrone.
Yeah, we didn't really have a lot of cards to make Dethrone really good.
Yeah, the only thing about this draft I was kind of sad is that we didn't find a conspiracy that was the library technician or something like that, where it was you could add another pack into the pool.
Yeah, I was really hoping for that.
Because we ended up buying, I ended up getting 3 different packs, it's 3 completely separate packs from like all these different older sets. Like I got one from I can't remember what that is.
Innistrad.
Like Mirrodin Besiege. I got an Innistrad and a Judgment pack, and I was hoping we'd pull one of this so we could just like choose one of these packs and just like add it into our draft to be even more janky. But
you kept it, right? You
so
have them now.
I have them now. We're gonna
chaos draft.
We're gonna do a chaos draft of it.
Hopefully this coming weekend we'll be doing a chaos draft.
But the chaos draft is just
pick any 3 packs you want. I don't know what the exact definition is, but it's any 3 packs you want, minus
homelands,
minus like homelands, or minus like the unsets.
Unset, yeah.
Yeah.
So
just a zany draft where it's just like a whole bunch of mishmash.
Everything's gonna be all crazy and a whole bunch of cool interactions. So.
But yeah, I definitely want to get a box of Conspiracy because I think it was a lot of fun, especially when you're like with us where we have 4 people. Consistently, and we're able to just do like a 4-man draft or whatever, and then actually be able to play 4-man multiplayer.
Yeah,
it's like awesome for us.
Yeah,
and it's a lot of fun.
Speaking of drafting, let's hop into our newest installment of Noob's Knowledge. Knowledge. So today we're going to be talking about kind of the basics of drafting. Why don't you go ahead and explain to us, Reich, what drafting is?
What is drafting?
Yeah.
What is drafting?
Is that the one thing where, like, I go on ESPN and, I pick the football players?
Yeah, they do that every year, and they do it, like, at the...
It's the NASCAR thing, you know?
Oh, yeah, where you're getting behind cars. Like, they get close to your bumper.
Yeah, they slingshot them up.
Yeah, I saw that, like...
aerodynamics.
Yeah. It was like Days of Thunder or something like that.
Something about wind, air...
But yeah, drafting
drag coefficient.
Drag coefficient? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Small but different words.
But yeah, drafting in Magic is essentially a format. They call it the limited. It's a limited format in Magic terms.
It's like the most popular limited format.
Yeah, and it's pretty much essentially. It's usually done with 8 people. 8 people have 3 booster packs, either 3 core set ones or one of each of the 3 expansions, or whatever the format calls for, whatever's out. Essentially, you have 3 booster packs, and there's 15 cards that come in each booster pack. And essentially, what you do is each player at the table, each put one of the out of 8 people. So there's pretty much in your first pool, there's going to be 8 people opening one booster pack of 15 cards. And so you open your booster pack, look at your 15 cards, you decide which is your favorite card or whatever card you're looking for in that pack. You remove that card from the pack, and then you pass your 14 cards to the next person down the line. So usually it starts to the left.
Left, right, left.
Everyone takes a card out of their pack, passes it to the left. That person takes a card out, and essentially you just keep going all around the circle until there is 0 cards left. And then you open your second pack, 15 cards, just rinse and repeat to the right, and then back to the left again until you have pretty much, I think it's around like 40...
65?
Or you end up with around like 60-some cards, I think, or how many cards do you end up once the whole draft?
You get 45 cards.
Yeah. So you end up with a 45
cards.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, horrible math.
Yeah, but anyways, so
15 times 3.
you end up with a big pool of cards, and then from those cards, you have to kind of decide which cards you want to play and how you want to play. Like, just pick out the best cards that'll work for a deck, and then you end up essentially at the end of the draft, you're supposed to construct a 40-card minimum deck out of the cards that you picked, including the lands. But lands are actually, for drafts, they're pretty much provided to you. Usually the game store will have it, or you bring your own lands, or however you want to do it. But lands are free. You don't have to draft lands because there's not enough lands in the packs to provide for everybody.
You can't draft the lands if the lands are in the boosters. So if like this current set, the Scry lands, you could draft the Scry land and include it in one of your lands. But you also have to think of at the time that you're drafting the lands, so you're passing up like other cards that could be good. So I mean, there's a trade-off.
Yeah, the special lands are always something you could draft, but just like basic mountain or lands, basic forest, you don't have to worry about those. Those will be provided to you.
So you draft those 45 cards. You're going to have 45 at the end no matter what. You're going to play probably 23, 24, 22 of those cards in your deck, and then you will be getting the lands provided by your local game store or your buddies or your own damn pocket or whatever. So just think that you're going to be using half the cards you draft.
Yeah, essentially. So you'll have hopefully you'll have a 45 card pool of playable cards, and then you whittle it down to roughly, I think the common acceptable amount of playable cards excluding the lands, is about 23. So you want to shoot for 23 cards, either like a mix between like creatures and spells that add up to a total of 23 cards, and then you add the lands into that to make up the 40 card deck, essentially. But I mean, this format is really good in Magic because it allows players that don't really know about cards to kind of learn about cards as you play. It's really good at, like, just when buddies get together and you just want to buy packs. You don't want to show up with your super crazy your deck, and everyone's on equal footing essentially. There's
you don't want to spend $200-$300 on a standard deck right off the bat just to play. You want to go and buy a couple packs and then you play, and then you can use those cards for whatever. You can play your limited deck again against your buddies you played with in the draft, or
exactly. And it's different every time, and it's like everybody loves opening booster packs, no matter how little value there is. Like you don't really want to go to a store and just buy a booster pack just to open it, even though we do anyways because we just love doing that. But it's really fun because you have 3 packs pretty much, and you get to open each one, and you get to see the best card and potentially take it even if you don't want it. I mean, if you don't use it in your deck, it's still, if it's like a money card or something, you can still pick it out and,
or you
and that's your card.
Your standard deck. You're just like, this thing gonna help me in the draft, but I can use it in my standard deck, so boom.
Exactly, and it's it's a really fun format, but it does take some time to get into and be competitive in, and
there is a little bit of strategy when it comes to actually drafting, or just being able to realize what you need when you need it. Like, you can't just. There's been multiple times where I've drafted and I'm just like, man, all these spells are so good.
Yeah.
And I'm like on the last pack and I'm like, I only have like 5 creatures. Like, fuck, there's certain things you have to keep in mind, and it comes with practice, and it comes with, just kind of making mistakes. And, that's why I drafted M14 on Moto, over 50 times, just because the first 30 times just horrid constant mistakes. But it was it's fun because you get the cards from it, but you also get value instead of just opening the packs outright.
Yeah,
you get some fun value.
And plus, you gotta remember, this is a completely different format. So your card evaluation is completely different than normal. You can't go in with a constructed mindset and just be like, oh, this card, I see it played constructed all the time. It's got to be a good card. Well, it's only a constructed playable card because as this other card that when you put them together, you get this powerful effect that you're not really going to see in a limited pool because you're opening up all these different packs. You're not guaranteed to get one. And even if there's one in the card pool, you're not guaranteed to actually get that card. So you kind of have to it's one of those things where you just need a lot of experience. You got to see these cards firsthand. There might be one card where you're like, this card's crap. I never want to play this card, and then you lose to it every single time. And then you're just like, okay, well, maybe I have to change my evaluation about this card and see why it's so good, why I'm losing to it all the time.
It's like the whole Shivan Dragon thing. The reason a lot of people have a lot of them is because they want them in draft. In draft, Shivan Dragon is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
But in constructed playable decks nowadays, there's not much room for
outclassed by everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you put your draft goggles on, when you see a Shivan Dragon, you're if it's someone passes you a Shivan Dragon, you're like, holy shit, fuck yeah, I'm taking this. Granted,
the card evaluation comes signals, which will eventually allow you get past the Shivan Dragon, 3rd or 4th pick, you're just like, well, I guess red's open, and I'm taking the Shivan Dragon because it's gone for a while, apparently, and nobody's taking it, so I'm clear to go, or,
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of, once you do enough drafts, you kind of get these feelers out, where you'll notice, you'll look at a pack, and you're like, okay, I know kind of what's missing from this whole, what colors being picked out of this whole draft of this pack, and then you kind of get a sense of okay, the person to the left of me is possibly playing this color, or the person to the right of me is passing me these colors, so he's definitely not looking for this. So
or even with archetypes, you get past gray merchants or something like that, you'd be like, okay, well, somebody might be black, but if they pass the gray merchant, it's I'm pretty okay to go in the black because you just get a bunch of black permanents. Gray merchant's a bomb on its own.
Or if it's pack 3 and you get past the gray merchant, but you're not in black, you're like, I am taking this gray merchant because there's nothing really awesome in this pack for me, but I'm taking this, so the fucking whatever black drafter at the table.
You got an excuse. It's fucking draft goggles, dude.
Yeah. Draft goggles, dude.
Draft goggles are on.
You walk into the booster and you're like, what's up, baby?
What's up, Shivan Dragon? How you doing?
Dragon, and all your buddies are like, dude, it's not good, bro. Come on, man, you can do better than that. No, come on, I got this, bro. I got this.
You wake up next day, it's, the constructed sun is coming through the windows, and you look over, you're like, oh god, Shivan Dragon, no!
You look, what did I draft yesterday? And you look through it, and you look at all these crap cards. It's perfect. It's the perfect analogy. I love it. It's my favorite thing. Dude, the draft goggles is... we're making a shirt.
Yep.
I love it.
Got my draft goggles on. Oh, wow. But yeah.
Well, you shouldn't draft on an empty stomach, so let's talk about... bread.
Okay, so bread
was that a sweet? I love give myself props. That was a sweet segue.
I'm bringing Wonder Bread's good.
Yeah, MTG bread it's where it's at. Oh man! So what bread is essentially? It's an
acronym.
An acronym for kind of a strategy to draft. We can't take credit for this because this was I think Melissa De Toro is a professional. She's a professional Magic player, and she had a primer kind of explaining bread. I don't know the origins of bread. She could have came up with an acronym, but it could be common knowledge. But essentially, bread is BREAD. In case you don't know how to spell bread.
Really? It
is an acronym, and
BREED. I've always spelled it that way.
Yeah.
Breed.
Bread. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But essentially, the B in bread stands for bombs, which are...
What are bombs?
Shivan Dragon.
Your Shivan Dragons.
But what's the definition of a bomb?
I know it. The 8 mana 6/5 boar that gives everything hexproof.
That is not a bomb.
No, but that's the definition of draft goggles.
That is the definition of draft goggles.
I'll get there.
So, I mean, bombs are like your
Elspeth.
Your Elspeths.
It's what's going to close out a game for you. When you play this, if they don't deal with it, then the chances are good that you're going to win the game.
They only have a couple turns before they lose the game if they don't answer.
And they're really good. I mean, they just be really good cards where you play it and your opponent just looks at it like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. What do I do now?
I don't literally nothing in my deck can take care of
like
this.
Your Pelucranoses, your Elspeths,
Brymaz.
Your Brymazes, even
or like a Shivan Dragon, they have no flyers, they have no anything with reach, and they already used all their removal, so they're like, well, that thing's going to get through for the rest of the game.
It avoids all the burn spells they have or whatever.
Yeah,
exactly. And they are your kind of your closers, so they're kind of your win condition.
Right.
The R in bread stands for removal, which is always essential to a good draft deck. Either removal like a burn spell for red removal,
lightning strike.
Like such as lightning strike, or even shock is a good removal card.
Party tricks. Love party tricks.
Party tricks considered as removal. Counters magic, like dispel or cancel. That's also kind of considered a removal card because it does remove it when it comes into play.
Yeah, I just the little thing. Counter spells are kind of like on the lowest end of the removal.
Yeah, they're not the best removal, but they're still effective.
You still have to keep mana up, and they're not going to play. They might not play something you want to counter or something like that. So it kind of just can rot in your hand.
Yeah, but
they're the distant cousin of Doomblade.
You don't want 3 dissolves in your draft deck. Let's just say that. At the most, you want maybe 1.
Very sparing. Very sparing with the counter magic. Removal is just like the main
when I think of removal, I think of burn spells and black.
Yeah, unconditional removal.
Yeah.
Doomblade, Hero's Downfall for black, or Ultimate Price,
Devour Flesh,
Tragic Slip in previous formats.
Yeah,
which is a great card.
Tragic Slip.
But anything that pretty much just deals with a creature or planeswalker instantly.
And I would say there are bombish types removal, and there's just normal type removal. You have your Hero's Downfall, which is a bombish. It's unconditional. You have the mana, it gets rid of it regardless. Or you can have a Pinnacle of Rage. You spend 6 mana, deals 4, but they could pump it, and then now you spend 6 mana, it doesn't do anything.
Or the Ultimate Price, where it can only be monocolored, so it's conditional removal because there are conditions on when you can use it.
So there are removal spells that are just way better than the rest.
Oh yeah, there's definitely higher up skills, but removal, in limited, good removal is always
Super
one of your higher picks. But there's still removal is removal, and there's no way you need some kind of
have it,
party trick or some kind of removal
or not.
Yeah.
Pack one, pick one. I will always pick a Hero's Downfall. If it's in my first pack, I will pick it. That is just too good.
You know what's a bomb? I think in limited and stuff like that. Actually, when I think about it, it's another podcast too. The one that destroyed target creature and destroyed target land. People play 3 colors, and if you can destroy that 1 color of mana that they only have one of,
the one that just came out.
Spiteful Blow.
Yeah, is that
That's
the
a fucking-
ass?
The ass
The
one.
Yeah,
ass.
the ass one. Like
Blowing away people.
6 mana for removing one creature. That's not the point. I don't think. I think the point is that they're fighting to get their 3 colors up, and they only have 1 mana of that one. They're not gonna have fucking 2 of each one. Not
even-
until not way later, and it'll fuck them up. I love it.
Even like a 2-color deck. There's a lot of times where you can have like a blue-black deck, and like you're playing against them, and they'll have like 5 swamps and 1 island.
Yep.
You're just like, okay, well, I'll just blow your island up, and you can't play a blue spell now. So
Destroying one creature is fantastic, but destroying a way for them to even create creatures or spells or whatever, it's fan-fucking-tastic.
How much was how you just mentioned it? The removal,
Spiteful blow.
no, the fuck. I'm gonna have to edit
The
this.
Barclays of Broadway?
The 5 mana in Theros.
the 5 mana in Theros,
The removal or 6 mana.
Pinnacle of Rage.
No, the black.
What the hell's it do?
Black removal kills.
Oh, the
You just said it.
Xbox, sign off.
it's
Xbox, I love you.
Xbox, come here, you sexy thing.
Now, freaking
Sip of
YouTube or
hemlock.
whatever is going to
Okay.
recognize that shit, and it's not going to let us upload this fucking video or upload this piece of shit.
So, what was it? I just already forgot it. Editing.
Sip of Hemlock.
Sip of hemlock.
It's not a real.
So that's is that
Milk of the poppy.
is that 5?
yeah, no, come on,
5 or
Poppy.
6, yeah.
So stupid.
Okay, I totally forgot my point.
Sip of Hemlock.
Okay, so sip of hemlock for removal, even though it's like I think it's 5.
It's very clunky. Like
Yeah, it's very clunky, but it's removal nonetheless. So like if you're in black, like you're not going to be super happy about it, but if you get 1 or 2 in your pack, you're like, okay, at least I have something that can
That
remove.
could deal with their bomb.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
always happy to play one. I'm
Yeah.
always happy to play one. Beyond that, could depend, on how much your removal package you have or don't have. But
Like, I'll kill your freaking elfish mystic
Don't
any
kill
day
my
with that
elf.
one.
What did he ever do to you, man? He's just chilling out, just be like, I just want to just make some green mana over here. That's all, guys. Don't worry about me.
What's up, baby?
Tap.
Yo, baby Bubba, just don't worry about this. Just making some green mana. Was that Snoop Dogg? But all right.
So what's the
Anyways.
E stand for?
So the E in bread, B-R-E-A-D, the E stands for evasion, which is another really important aspect of drafting, because if you don't have evasion, a lot of times you don't have a way to get damage in.
trample evasion.
well, what is evasion?
Evasion,
Is hiding underneath the draft table evasion?
that is concealment.
Can I make a fourth of lands?
Evasion is
Myself?
the morning after you draft.
Yeah.
And you get out, you need to duck out
You
of
just
there.
need
without
to
them
sneak
seeing
out
you.
that room.
You start opening your eyes, you just see red, and you're like, no, Shivan Dragon.
Oh no! Why are there potato chips all over the ground? You try to sneak out, it's all.
Oh, okay. creaky floor.
Oh, yeah, creaky floor. That probably been a better one.
No. Just,
No.
in
Why
the
is it-
bedroom, there's potato chips everywhere.
Oh man,
That
it's,
is-
Oh,
that is the
man.
number-
it's
dude,
a
that's-
crackling. Why is the bubble wrap everywhere?
I can't tell you how many times I woke up. I'm like, fuck, dude, there's lays on the ground.
Yeah,
God
dude.
damn it.
What do I do? Screw Mrs. Potato Head or something?
Oh no, Mr. Potato Head's gonna be so mad.
He's gonna lose his head.
Oh,
So evasion. What is evasion?
oh man, I can't go on anymore, guys.
He probably wouldn't lose his head. He just loses the pieces on his head.
Yeah.
If he loses his head, that he still is, because that's what all he is. If he loses his head, he basically just moved from one place to the next, because potato is the
Just
whole thing.
killing it.
Here we go this one.
Just killing it. Just
Pretty bad.
That was a bomb right there.
Potato.
That's a good example of a bomb.
If everybody has AIDS, then nobody has AIDS. Think about that.
Mind.
Some hazy thoughts with the hot sauce.
We can always edit that out.
Anyways,
No,
yeah,
it's
so-
staying in there.
I think that should be our slogan. We can always edit that out.
that's our podcast.
You
Yeah,
can't-
that's our motto.
But you can't edit drafting.
No, you can't.
Oh.
Our motto is we should probably edit that out. But we never do.
Evasion. That is things such as flying, intimidate, And that's pretty much
Unblockable.
unblockable. Well, that's
Kind of like Intimidate in a way.
pretty much Intimidate.
So
but,
it's ways to get your damage through to the player.
yeah.
Or things like creatures that tap, that deal damage to something. That's like kind of like evasion because
You're getting around their creatures.
You're still getting damage through, but you're not having to go through a wall of creatures.
So like,
Or a way to tap
what was
down
that
creatures.
white one, Master Diversion,
yeah.
when he comes into play, right?
No,
You get-
it's like a Heliod's Emissary. Whenever,
when he
whenever they
attacks,
attack,
you can tap something down.
Right.
So it's like pseudo
kinda
evasion.
like-
There's a few of those though. There's like heroic stuff like that, or even I'm sure there's even like a consolation or some shit. Probably.
Yeah.
At
But
least eventually.
The classic ones are Intimidate.
And flying.
Flying.
Flying is like
Flying.
pretty much one of the biggest evasion that you can find in a limited setting.
you're going to need flyers.
Flyers
Regardless
are-
of what color you're in. You're going to have some flyers.
Yeah, flyers are a huge problem to deal with if you don't have any way to interact.
What if your opponent brings out one flyer and you don't have removal in your hand, and you
Or
know
a
your deck doesn't
flyer.
have any flyers? You're just like, game.
Yeah,
I
it's going to
lost.
hit me for 3 for the
Damn
next
that
10
Paperkin.
turns.
Yeah,
This is
it
why
like that, yeah.
flying is very important, or reach, or just having a lot of board pressure, because flying will run over you if you're not ready for
Dude,
it.
like a 2/1 for 3 with flying, draft it. It's
Yeah.
2 damage in the air.
That is
2 damage every
completely.
turn.
I would
You're
say
not
that's
gonna block
almost
that
borderline bomb in draft.
That is like that gets the engine
How about
going.
this?
It
The
gets
white-
the damage going.
The biggest dick hair right now in the current meta is white flying with heroic.
Yes.
Biggest dick hair ever. It's going to be a 1/1 for 2 with flying, and then they're going to freaking protect it. They're going to do some kind of spell against it, whatever, a pump spell, a protection spell, or anything, and it's just going to grow and grow and grow. And it's going to be
I'll tell you right
attacking
now,
5.
in the draft format we're in right now, a Crow and Skyguard, pack one, pick one, common. Right
Yep,
now,
it
it's,
is.
it's,
I
it's,
wouldn't
it's
doubt it.
a huge bomb, and if you can get away with it and
Well,
put enough things on
well,
heroic
Pack
on
2,
it.
pick one.
No, pack one.
I'm opening
You
up
take
Born
it
of
out.
the Gods first.
Yeah, pack two, whatever. But anytime I see it in that first pack, I
It's
will
a
take
pick
it.
one. It's a pick one.
first pick for me.
Yeah.
Just because
It's a pick. It's a pick.
It's a definite pick because it just can run away so easily. And in this format, the draft format that we're in, there's so many enchantments and so many targetable effects that you can trigger heroic on it so easily, and it gets out of hand.
The whole block's about like just combat.
But essentially,
It's a lot
yeah.
to deal with combat.
Yeah,
so.
the E is the evasion, and flying and intimidate are one of the best ones. Trample is kind of a little bit of evasion, just a way to
Pseudo
push damage
evasion.
through. But it's really just able to get your guys over or under the other guy's creatures. That's pretty much one of the higher up ones. I mean, it kind of goes in a tier. So you want your bombs, and then you're looking for your removal, and then of course you're looking for your evasion. Next up, we have our the A in bread, kind of what's kind of they call it aggro, or kind of building your curve of your deck. So you don't want to draft a deck that's all like 10 drops. Like I have only 7 drops in my deck. That will not do very well when you start playing it, because by the time you get the chance to play your 7 drops, you'll probably be dead because someone else actually has a 1 mana creature or 2 mana creature and plays on curve with his mana base.
I think it's real important to understand it, besides just for the limited format, but for just standard or anything else. When you get into Magic in your first few months, from my experience, you start reading all these cards, you love the bombs, and you want to play the bombs, and so you're playing 10 of these 5 and 6 drop creatures or whatever the hell, or spells or whatever, because you're real excited to use them, but you don't understand yet that you need to have 8 1-drops and 6 2-drops or whatever else so that you actually can get to that point. You're never
Yeah.
going to get there
You need to
if
do
you don't
something
have any
before you
plays.
die.
Yeah, you got to have something. So,
Have some fillers.
but it's just one of those things when you start off, you don't want to play that stupid 1/1. You want to play that 1-drop 2/1 whatever the hell. You're like, yeah, whatever. What is that going to do?
Or it's
But
like-
it does everything.
When you're new, you're just like, yeah, I'm just going to play my bombs, and then, my bombs are going to take over. And you don't realize the power of going, okay, 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop, 5-drop. And then there's like, okay, well, I'll play my 1 bomb, and I might be able to take one of your guys out. But, if you have a properly built curve, whether it's on the higher end, your curve can kind of start at 2, go 3, 4, or it can start at 1 or 3 or whatever. But as long as you have a curve where you can at least interact with your opponents some way in the early game, you can get to your bombs and you can start doing that stuff. That's why having a proper curve and having the proper amount of 2-drops, 3-drops, 4-drops to be able
Or
to play
just
on
counter
time.
magic. The way that control deck plays essentially only bombs for their permanents, but it gets around all the little shit by playing counter magic and kill spells and all that other shit. So that's the way that they have to have the curve. They still have to play shit at 2 and 3 mana all day long, but then they're going to finally get to their 6 and drop it safely.
Yeah.
And the other way to do it is just play your 2 and 3 drop creatures that can protect or yourself until you get to it. There's different ways around it, but they're essentially the same thing. Even though they're not permanents on the board, it's still a curve.
Yeah.
I think the aggro in this sense means keeping pressure, and that means playing something each turn. Because you might not think about it, but 2-1 on turn 1. On turn 2, it's going to hit for 2, turn 3, another. So, like, by the time they get their bomb out, your 1-drop has already done, like, 6 to 8 damage.
Yeah.
And that's pretty significant for, just a 1-drop, like a measly little 2-1.
Your 1-drop could be more efficient than their 6-drop that does something when it comes on the board.
Absolutely.
Because it could just die right away.
By that time, you might have to just, like, hold it back to block.
Yeah.
You could bring out your 5/6 flyer, and then you're like, well, fuck, if I do this, I'll
I'm
tap
at 2
out,
life,
and I'm
they
going to
have a
die.
2-1 flyer, I have to block with it now.
Exactly, so that bomb is not doing it. It's protecting you in one way, but that's not the way to win a game.
Yeah. So essentially, the A in the bread acronym is just have a good aggro and curve strategy where you want a lot of creatures and spells that you can play on the turn that you have the mana. So you always want to have something you can play in your first turn, second turn, third turn, fourth turn, all the way to X turn.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes you may not even get all that mana. So a lot of times, like I personally, when I draft, I like to keep my curve around like 2, 3 drops, 4 drops for this format at the most. Like I'll have my 1 or 2 bombs at a 5 and 6 slot drop
this
slot.
format's very fast, so you have to
because
have
this format is really fast. So I like to play like a really low converted mana cost kind of game plan where I'm playing a lot of 2 or 3 mana creatures as opposed to just paying 1 or 2 and then hopefully waiting for that 6 mana to be able to play my Elspeth or whatever, that bomb that I happen to get. But I mean, that also helps to have that bomb to finish the game because maybe your little 1/1s or 2/1s aren't enough to get through fast enough, and then you kind of get stalemated and you don't have a bomb, then you're in trouble.
Yeah, if you don't have a bomb, you're playing all these little things, and then they
So-
drop a couple big things, and now all your little things can't do anything.
Yeah.
So
It's definitely a balancing act, and you'll learn as more you play the draft and how the format is of that draft. You'll kind of learn to adapt and how to spot good cards when you need it when you're drafting it.
yeah.
So what is the final letter? The lowest rung, but nonetheless, it is a rung on the ladder.
This one is going to be about 75% of your deck.
So we
I'd
have
pretty
the
much
D
say.
of bread. The D in this case stand for the dregs, the unwanted, the trash cards, the unpickables, the unplayables.
The 15 pick, your 15
The-
pick or your first pack.
Charging batter.
That's it.
It's
Charging
all
batter.
the C.
Batter? Did I say
Yeah,
batter?
charging batters.
Badger. God damn it.
Charging batter's
The
delicious.
charging batters. You got me saying it. The charging badgers.
So it's all the C minus cards.
Yeah,
the
all-
cards that you get like 10th, 12th, the higher picks. But they're going to fill out your curve. They're going to at least apply some pressure.
Or-
they're going to interact at some point with your opponent.
Or the
But you're
worst
not
of it could be in your
It's the
sideboard.
3/2 for 3. That's what it is. It's going to do something, but do you really care?
But yeah,
You do, though. You do. You have to.
Yeah.
they do play an important part, and that part is trash can filler.
Or just like bears, just a 2/2 for 2.
Yeah.
Burrs.
But I would say a bear is probably in the aggro though, because it's still a good. I mean, I would play
But-
2 for 2s all day.
But nobody's like
I think that-
second pick, like, oh, dude, that bear. I mean, obviously, depending on how fast the format
If you're
is.
an
and everything.
aggro, if you're going for an aggro type strategy, that's your bread and butter right there.
But for the most part, like the zombie, the one that was in M15, but not. It was in the spoiler. Anyways, it's just a 2/2 for 2 in black. So like, you need something in early drops in black, but you're not excited, and no one gives a fuck about it. It's not like they're gonna hate draft it. They're like, oh, I'm taking that motherfucker's 2/2.
This is like pick 10 through 15.
Exactly.
Yeah, so these are the ones like maybe they're not even in your color. It's just like a font of fertility or something like, and you're not even in green. You're just okay. Well, this is all I can pick, so I'm just gonna.
This is
pick
the
this
next.
trash.
Like, especially when you get to the dregs and stuff like that, the last couple picks, like, it's very important. Even if it's not in your color, you always take the most powerful card.
Yeah, even if it's a black card and you're playing all white, you always take.
If you look at like in context with the rest of the cards, it's not powerful at all. Like there's no power in it. But when you're looking at like those last 6 cards and you're like, okay, I can pick like a card that I could probably play, maybe, or I can pick like a card that somebody's gonna really want
That you would hate playing against.
That I hate playing against. You take that. You know, there's little things.
It's like
that.
if you draft an enchantment deck and there's like destructive revelry, which always get like, or whatever enchantment hate that always goes last. Like, you'll want to pick that because that's going to fuck your deck over.
Yeah.
Not so much, it'll be a dreg for somebody else, but you're going to, take it away from
Or it'll be the appropriate time to pick up your enchantment hate,
Right. Well,
pick 10 through 15, they're always going to be around then, you can pick it up then.
Yeah.
So.
Some of those creatures are like sacrifice, destroy artifacts, sacrifice, destroy enchantment.
Yeah.
Like, that's not going to be a big pick, but it's still going to do something.
It's kind of like that 2/1 in green that you can sack it and produce red mana. So like if
Satyr Hedonist. Or
so like if you're green blue, let's say, and you're just like light on 2-drops, you'll pick that guy up. Like he's
play him if you're light on 2-drops too.
he is a 2/1, and you're just you need something in that spot. You don't give a shit about the text on the card. You just care that he's a body on turn 2.
In that case, you can still probably use it because if you had a 4-mana spell and it was like 1 blue and 3 colorless, I mean, there you go.
Yeah.
Get to that point.
Yeah, but for the most part, it's
you probably won't use it, but I mean,
for the most part, it's just filling.
Yeah, it's just
filling in the
just
gaps.
the leftovers, pretty much. But I do like what Quickness said, that definitely pick up when you're at that point where you don't really have a pick that you want out of it. Definitely pick the highest power level card of that bunch, because someone at the table might have been hoping that it flies under the radar around the table and ends up coming back into their hand.
Call in drafting called wheeling.
They call it wheeling, where it ends up going all the way around the table and back to you, even though you wanted it, but you just couldn't pick it at that point of time.
Because there was a better card to get.
Yeah, because you wanted a different card. But yeah, that's definitely a really good point in drafting.
And like when always you get down to like these last 2 ones, like the aggro curve and the dregs type stuff, you always want to like apply the ones before it's like the evasion, removal, and bombs and stuff like that. You kind of like apply it in a small scale version when you get down to the dregs. Because like we were going for the most powerful one, but you could have 2 that are kind of equal power levels. So now you're like, okay, is it removal or no? Okay, so it's not removal, but it's got evasion now. So now I can be like, okay, well, these are crappy cards, but this is the most powerful one because it's got some sort of evasion attacked onto it, whereas this one doesn't. And just different strategies like that. You always want to like go through bread every time you're looking at a card. You're going to try to pick it.
Yeah, just run down the steps. Just in your brain.
Run down the
just
steps.
run down the steps.
Just run through them all the time.
Not too fast though, you don't trip.
Oh yeah, no! Don't run the scissors either.
You don't run with bread.
Go down the hall.
You don't run with bread.
Yeah, you'll smash the bread.
No one
likes smashed bread.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But anyways,
there is a reason this is important because there are 10 commons in your pack. So this is an important step. It's the lowest of the step, but like I said earlier, it's definitely important because it does make up a lot of your deck, and it is going to be a lot of what you're drafting.
It is good to know the commons, too.
Yes.
Where people don't do a lot of research on the little stuff, whatever. And if you're playing in mostly constructed standard formats, you don't really have to care. But you're probably going to get into draft eventually, and it's good to do a little bit of research on the common bombs, you know what I mean? Because that's what guys just said, is what you're drafting.
Like, your whole deck's commons, pretty much. Commons and uncommons. You're going to have a couple of rares and maybe a mythic in there. So it's really good to know the commons. But, like with the bombs and stuff, bombs are just natural. They come, it's a bomb or it's not. But, like, when it comes down to these commons and uncommons, when you're applying these techniques to them, it can get kind of a little hazy, and that's why this is there, is because you can follow something that's kind of structured. It's not like an end-all, be-all thing. Like, you don't have to take a bomb over a removal spell.
Yeah,
don't pick one. You can pick a removal spell, like, over a bomb just because it's that good.
And don't get confused with a bomb, like a rare is always a bomb, because rare, I mean, there are common bombs, like a Nespian Asp is a common green card, and it is a bomb. Yeah. It is a great bomb. So don't think that it's because it's mythic or if it's rare that it's necessarily going to be a bomb. It might be a decent card, but it may not be an actual bomb.
When you're comparing these kinds of cards, like rarity should be your last thing to hit. Like when you're trying to pro and con it and see which one you want, like rarity doesn't really mean much. Like it's all about the card's power level. So like the Nessie Nasp, you could have that, or you could have
Gray Merchant,
or Gray Merchant, or you could have like the Centaur Lord. That's a rare, Or people be like, oh, it's a rare, it's a bomb, centaurs, there's centaurs in this one. Or you could have like a Gray Merchant and Nesminas along in that pack as well. And you take the Centaur Lord, well, you just missed out on 2 bombs when this Centaur Lord isn't really a bomb, but you went based off of rarity level.
Yeah.
So you got it. That's a trap a lot of people fall in, especially newer drafters.
Yep.
Because they're like, oh, it's the rare, I always want the rare, and I always want the uncommons, and I go down from there. And that's a completely wrong way to do it. You'll not have a good time.
Yeah, wouldn't you want to have something like a 2-power creature with like some kind of evasion or reach or whatever else over like some 5/5 do nothing on the ground? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot of those rares are. They have something that you may be able to activate or this and that, but they don't have like the proper evasion or whatever else. Like the Hydras are a good example, where like sometimes you can get away with them and they're like they could possibly win you the game. But a lot of those Hydras like don't have trample and shit. They're gonna grow and grow and grow, but they can get fucking chumped. They can just be whatever. I mean, it might be worth picking, but it's not just like an end all be all just because it's a big old power or whatever.
Yeah.
You could possibly lose to someone with their flyer gets to 3 power and then just attacks the shit out of
I'm
you.
sure like maybe in the next couple episodes we'll have a new knowledge about like applying bread into archetypes, because you could have a bomb in a color and you're like, I'm in that color, but you're not in that archetype. So it's not really a bomb for you. So the power level and the card evaluation can vary drastically based on what archetype you're trying to go into. And then we'll talk about it later, I'm sure, like leaving yourself open in signals, stuff like we all want to go through.
There's a ton to talk about Limited.
We'll talk about this, but bread is
this
like...
was a good, like...
A little primer for you.
It's a good foundation. If you're just new, you can go and do bread to every card, and you can end up with a deck that could win you games. At least you can win games. It might not win you the whole draft, but you'll be competitive still.
Well, of course, we cannot forget the 6th step, which is question marks, and the 7th step, which is profit.
Yeah. So I guess let's go to our last. Let's go to our last little thing before we wrap up here.
Don't be a dick, Chase.
Yeah. How not to be a dick.
Perfect example.
Perfect, classic example. So this week, this is a thing that I've actually... The more I grow up, the more I think about this. And I still I do it from time to time, sometimes on accident, and sometimes, I don't think it's going to affect people, but it does. It's, like when you realize like your audience, or like realize who you're around when you're talking. So like, I'm like a loud and obnoxious, the Sarlacc pit vagina.
I just noticed that.
Oh yeah, when I drew the dick going into a Star Wars pit.
Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
So it's crazy vagina. So like I'm like a loud and obnoxious person, and when I was younger, I didn't really like think about how people would take it, because I know like I have good intentions, and I know that I'm like a nice person.
You mean well.
Yeah, I mean well. And, some people, it doesn't come off like that. It comes off like I'm just trying to be an asshole, or like make fun of, get laughs at other people's expense. Like, even like Peppermint Swirl, like he like hated me when we first started hanging out because we were playing like the original Halo, and I was just like talking shit the whole time. And he's like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, because we're at his neighbor's house. Anyways, so, like, in regards to, like, gaming or, like, Magic, like, we started this podcast because we want to put out content that we would like to hear. Like, if you're not hearing what you want to hear, say what you want to hear. So we're putting out a show that's like stuff that we would be willing to listen to. So it's, very funny, very inappropriate, but hopefully it is informative.
Is that why we start? I just wanted to hear my own voice.
Have we been recording this whole time?
Yeah.
I thought I was talking to myself.
I want to make terrible jokes, and I want people a bigger audience than you guys. That's it.
So like when we, have our little bloopers section when we're talking about like horrible things like rape and
awful things.
Yeah.
Awful things that should never be said.
Like, we hope that, we don't mean to offend anybody, and in the certain context, horrible things like that can be funny. Especially like with the four of us, we've known each other for so long that we know what our boundaries are, and since we're so close, like we don't have a lot of boundaries with one another. So we can say horrible things, and it's kind of like they're funny because they're so horrible, like not really like for shock value, but it has to be appropriate. You just can't like yell out rape,
Fire in a movie theater.
Fire! You just died in the corner.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
It's kind of like that. A lot of comedians say, you can't make fun of everything. You can't make fun of anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's more about like comedic value. We're not, we don't seriously mean these things. You know, it's
Dude,
not,
everyone's gone through tragedy.
Yeah.
Everyone, like, the world is like it's such a fucked up place in so many ways. You know what I mean? There's just don't even fucking watch the news ever. The shit is
I never watch the news.
It's ridiculous.
I get depressed when I watch the news.
I understand like a lot of it's real, and there's just bad things. And living here in San Diego, we're living in this like top 1% of the world type shit. You know what I mean? I feel like
it's not like hard to think of a bad situation and just have it seen on TV. You know, you don't need the news to know kind of what's going on in the world. You can kind of see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it's okay to just be lighthearted about things, around what you said, around the right audience. You don't want to make some dead baby jokes to some people that just lost their fucking baby. You know? That's some crazy shit.
You want to show a little bit of tact around other people you don't know.
Like, for instance, I'll tell you that one of my favorite stories about me is we all went out to dinner for Peppermint Swirl's girlfriend's birthday, and we were gonna go.
Great story.
She invited her work friends, and like we hadn't really met them, and like we knew they weren't complete stiffs, but like we kind of wanted to, tone down our usual sense of humor and everything. Well, not us. I'm more saying me. In my head, I was like, okay, watch what you say. Shut up. Don't say anything horrible. Because I get all excited and think of something funny, and I just blurt it out. So, we were finishing up dinner at this like nice restaurant. We all dressed nice and everything, and we started joking around about whatever the subject was, and it kind of like.
Meandered.
Meandered into the topic of like STDs, and we were kind of like joking about like I forget what it was, like crabs or something, and then we started talking about like herpes or whatever, and then I was about to be like, hey, what's the big deal? Like, doesn't AIDS get love anymore? Like, don't forget about AIDS. Like, that's the best one, but like I just didn't want to like shock them with AIDS. And, like, even Peppermint Swirl could, like, tell, like, I was visibly, like, holding myself back. Like, I was like, no. And, so, like, later on in the night, me and Peppermint Swirl, we went to the casino later, so I was, like, telling them, like, yeah, I almost made, like, this, bad AIDS joke, but I didn't really, I didn't know the people too well, so I didn't feel comfortable doing it. And he's like, dude, thank God you didn't, because, like, some terrible situation had happened with the guy's, like, brother or sister, and they, like, died from AIDS or something. Or, I don't know if died, but, like, so it would have been, like, unbeknownst to me, like, without my knowledge of the situation, I would have just, like, made a huge faux pas and could have, like, totally offended this guy. And, like, who knows how he would have reacted to me making, like, this, I think I'm making a funny AIDS joke, And so you have to be aware of your surroundings and your audience. And, we do have the like, warning explicit language on our podcast because we do like to joke around about fucked up stuff sometimes. Like George Carlin says, he's like, rape's funny. You just have to have the right context. Oh, you don't think rape's funny? Okay, picture Elmer Fudd raping Porky Pig. Like, that's funny, Like, if you think about, like, the physical, like, picture him in your head. So you can't just, like, make just any old rape joke, But we don't mean to, like, offend anybody, but we're not really gonna change our style of humor.
Yeah, we won't go out our way to tone it down.
Yeah.
There's worse shit than us. My God.
Yeah.
On fucking TV, just like right now.
But don't be a dick about
Turn
it.
to goddamn Adult Swim right now, and then go ahead and fucking come back to us.
So just think about, like, when you're out
Like F&M.
At a game store, there's going to be little kids around, or people who you don't know if they share the same sense of humor as you.
There was that one PTQ we went to, and one of my opponents was like a 50 or 60-year-old dad.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would have been old enough and understood like what I was trying to do if I were to bring up that kind of humor when we were talking. But it's not something like you bring up to like a 60-year-old guy like when you just first meet him. You're like, oh yeah, oh I got this rape joke for you. you don't
by the way,
you don't do that. So
Yeah.
you gotta,
Have you heard any good rape jokes lately?
But if they do it, by all means, like open the floodgates and just go crazy. But you don't. Yeah, you just gotta be careful about that type of stuff.
Yeah, and like for me personally, I think the more like in poor taste something is, like the funnier it is in the right situation. Like I can't be at like ground zero and be making 9/11 jokes. But I forget. Totally forgot where I was going. But anyways, just be mindful of that, especially like on back to last week's How Not to Be a Dick. Like on the internet too. Just it comes down to just basic respect for other people. And granted, you might not even consciously think that you're being offensive or doing anything wrong because your intentions are pure, or you just don't stop to think about it. But just take that time to kind of put yourself in check before you start spouting off about stuff that you think is funny, or even like this applies to like raging, when you're playing, you get all upset and like, dude, take in your surroundings. Like you're playing a game that's supposed to be fun. Like if you're taking it that seriously, like maybe you're the dick, like you probably are the dick, but
yeah, absolutely,
without a doubt.
So anyways, that was just something off the top of my head.
Well, it's just like one of those things. Like it's weird to like say, and you never ever thought because you're brought up in school and like through your life as a kid, like, oh, the golden rule, treat others as you would treat yourself. Like nowadays, I mean, you can't really do that because like with us, we're okay with all these jokes. And like if somebody like told me a rape joke, like, oh, I raped your sister, I'd be like, ha ha ha, no you didn't, fucker, or something like that. You know what I mean? Just to mention back, like all these days, like something you may feel that's okay for you, it might not be okay with somebody else. So it kind of sucks to say that the golden rule can't really apply anymore, because it is a good rule to have, because you don't want to treat somebody that you wouldn't treat yourself. But when it comes down to these types of things, things that aren't like really serious situations, you're not like really harming somebody, like just take a step back and realize, oh well, he's not like me, so he might not enjoy that, so just be careful.
Yeah, when I was younger, I thought everybody thought how like I thought. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I thought everyone was kind of like wired the same way, and like I didn't. Obviously, when you're a kid, you're kind of naive to ideas like that. But it wasn't until later when some people just didn't like me because I was kind of a dick, and then I was like, it made me stop and think about it. And the whole reason I kind of brought up this topic is because I actually had dinner with our neighbors across the street, and like I've talked to them before, but they like invite us in their house and they have a kid and everything, and like our dogs like play and stuff. So I was like trying to be on my best behavior, like still being like funny and like nice and stuff.
Still be somewhere yourself.
Yeah, but I had to definitely, because you have to feel people out. Yeah. You have to kind of see like where they lie on certain topics, or if they even get your sense of humor, because I may say something sarcastically and they may think I'm like serious, or like vice versa. And it's just like this weird, and then it just gets real fucking awkward, So that's actually why I thought about it. But it's so, like I said, it's something that's been there like in my whole life. So, thanks for listening in. I thought we'd kind of put some seriousness in the middle of all this funny shit we do. So this has been episode 10. We'd really like some feedback on, if you like what we're doing or not. Or if you want to hear certain things, or if you don't want to hear certain things, or
if you have a topic you want us to discuss, we can look up the topic, do some research, and then we can get back to you, or we can even have some of the questions you ask us. Maybe we can do like a little segment if enough people ask us questions. We can have like a mailbag type deal. people ask us things and we can go over it in some length.
Yeah, so hit us up, interact.
Yeah, always aware. We've got it on Twitter, Facebook.
We'll sign you
YouTube.
We'll sign you we'll send you a signed eye gouge in the mail.
Exactly.
To the first person who, we still didn't get a poop joke, dude. I'm kind of feeling shitty about it.
Kind of butthurt.
Oh! And that's been it for episode 10. I'm KnifeCity.
That's not a closer.
I'm a quickness.
This is Reich.
I'm not. I'm out of here. Not part of this anymore.
Hot sauce is no longer here. It's now hot soup.
And that's been episode 10. Peace.
A lot of shaft hair.
That's just veins, bro. Veins. She got some hair down your shaft, bro.
That's a lot of shaft hair, dude.
There shouldn't be any shaft hair, bro. Oh,
It's quite the fur coat you got there.
Dude, can you imagine? Can you imagine that? Imagine shaving down your dick. Shaving down your dick. You gotta go against the grain. Alright, yeah, that's a little too much. That's terrible. It's terrible. Teen wolfing it up over here, bro.
You start, I can understand like one vein, but you start like going all crazy. I'm like, is that fucking shaft hair? Like, you're growing it from the bottom up? Like, what's? Oh god.
I just dropped dicks on our show.
So
Sorry
anyways,
about that.
conspiracy.
That visual. Conspiracy.